Yes, hello. I am James Rowlandson. Today it's a WNR575. It's a G1 Climax 35, and I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first bump side for every WWE and AEW show is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, welcome. I'm going well. I am pretty much all caught up with everything New Japan right now, so feel very much prepared for this bucket load of a tournament we have to go through.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Doing good. One of my favorite times of the year that we covering here. So, I mean, I'm always in high spirits when we get a chance to catch up on New Japan. So, always excited to do the show, but always a little bit more excited for these New Japan shows. So, this should be fun.
Without a doubt. And last but by no means least, and you got to try to be the best and try to believe. No, the going gets rough, that you got to hang tough to make it. History repeats itself. Try and you'll succeed. Never doubt you're the one and you can have your dreams because you're the best around. Never gonna keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing ever gonna keep you down. It's the best around. It's Gina. How's it going, Gina?
Yay, well done, James. Love that. Looking forward to the G1. It feels rare to be doing New Japan, and so I definitely look forward to diving into the tournament.
Yeah, but we are already, like I said, probably the earliest we're going to review the G1 and what show we have. Like we talk about the G1 climax, but Monty, you're of course demigod. So why is the G1 climax so important for New Japan? For anybody that might have never seen the G1 before.
Well, if you haven't seen the G1 now at this point, then I would like to caution to you guys that it is a ghetto G1 that happens in AEW called the C2 that they do. So, just in case you've never seen it, it is a knockoff version of the G1. No offense to AEW, but I got always remind everybody this was New Japan's format first. So I'm so happy that round robin tournament seem to be popular in America. Like WWE fans used to tell me WWE fans couldn't fathom a round robin tournament. And I'm just like, you are insulting yourself. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is, it's very important. It's like a long form tournament based, one on one tournament based, but like the end result is of the same importance that a Royal Rumble victory would be if you are a person. So you get an opportunity at the biggest event most of the time, not last time. I'm still kind of aggravated about that, but still, the biggest you get your title match at the biggest event of New Japan's next calendar year, which is basically their WrestleMania, which would be Wrestle Kingdom. So you earn that right, and apparently you can also do it before Wrestle Kingdom if you want. But either way it go, you get a title shot, and you can get a chance to be crowned the best wrestler uh, in New Japan. Not only, but you kind of get crowned, in my opinion, because in my opinion, you got to be at least like 1A or 1B if you win the G1 in New Japan, because that's you when you win that marathon type of tournament with all of those matches and in the one-on-one format, you pretty much stamped yourself as one of the best, if not the best, in the world. The only thing left to do now is claim the crown of world champion if you are good enough to also do that. And it's also a great format for people who may not watch a lot of New Japan to get to know other talents who may not even be the ones who win the term. They could spend most of their time losing, but you get to see them put their best foot forward. You get to see more of their move set. Then you get to see them, let's say, if they specialize in tag matches, like a Yoshihashi or something like that. You get to see more of them. You get to see how they would wrestle in a more of a long form format, and it's a great way to learn and grow closer to the mostly heavyweight talent, and see who's on the rise, see who's falling off a little bit from where they were, and see who could be future winners of the G1. It's very very useful in my opinion to New Japan fans, new and old, and I think it's still the best tournament and still some of the best stuff. It's the best wrestling year round, even when the G1s aren't as good as some in the past. I still think it's consistently some of the best wrestling year round, no matter the promotion.
Yeah, without a doubt. And like you said, this is not our first G1, but for this one here, it was going to be July 19th and up until August 17th of obviously this year. And it will be 2 points for a win, one for a draw. The top three from each block will go through to the playoffs. But we're going to explain everything as we go along. I think I shot my voice from that song, Gina, so you might have to help me as well. I do apologise. But we also did predictions, but we're going to start with a look at the blocks. So A block had Tanahashi, Bolton Oleg, Tai Chi, Yota Tsuji, Yu Uemura, Finley, Evil, Sanada, Newman, and Oiwa. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on the lineup for Block A? And was there any matches that you had your particular eye on, or any wrestlers?
I mean, I was kind of very much excited to see that both Taichi and Yuya were in like the same block. That's quite interesting because again, if you know their history, you know that they're highly competitive with one another. So I pretty much was looking forward to sort of like another one-on-one between them again, considering how high things were or got for them when it was like the hair versus hair match. So I'd
Yeah.
say like those two really sort of like just from the very first start up of seeing the names, those two definitely popped into my head in terms of like potentially having a great G1 and standing out. You know, I was excited to see both of them had joined that.
Yeah, and the good thing is, well, we're starting to get to know him a lot better, and I think we will
Exactly.
show over this G1, I think, for all of us. And of course,
Mm.
with B Block, Zack Sabre Jr., Gabe Kidd, El Fantasmo, Sho Umino, Yoshihashi, Shingo, Takeshita, Great Khan, Ren Narita, and of course, Driller Maloney. Gina, what are your thoughts on B Block? Because there's a couple of bangers there I had my eye on. And again, what wrestlers had your eye on as well?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna say that throughout that block, Driller Maloney definitely had my eye throughout the whole G1, and he wasn't one that I looked at the beginning of the tournament, but I will say he was quite a standout for me. Yeah, there were quite a few good big names. What other ones did you just name drop?
There was people like Takeshita in there, Great Khan, of
Yeah,
course, Gabe Kidd as well. Zack Sabre Jr., the champion.
yeah, definitely. Especially with Takeshita and Zack Sabre Jr. as well. I felt like they had a lot of tension between them. So there was quite a few to look out for here. And it was also Great O'Con. I didn't know whether he was going to definitely smash his way through this or be at the bottom, but it was going to be one or the other. So I was really interested to see who was going to be on top of B Block.
Yeah, because again, we've got the wrestlers that we like, but again, we don't know how management likes them. So again, this the G1 is what it's going to be about, kind of finding out. And the most important thing beforehand, we had the press conference. We had A Block press conference. I didn't watch this on New Japan World as it wasn't subtitled, but did do it on YouTube as auto-generated translation. I have to say it because it just that was a ball ache for me. Anyway, even Oleg was laughing at Sanada's attire. Tai Chi looked smart and was very serious. He doesn't take it for granted. Uemura's next. It was short and sweet, and he said he's going to bring his own strong style. Oleg didn't actually have much to say. Suji was super serious. And Monty, I was disappointed with this because he didn't have any pudding or anything like that, and he just said that, oh, the new era starts with him winning the G1. It's like, where's the fun, Suji, you know?
Yeah, I think he also in a different position than he was last time. He's looking at himself, putting pressure on himself as a leader, and I think that's kind of more of what he was kind of hinting at with the way he approached his press conference. I mean, last year he probably did way better than even he was expecting. If you really put into context that was basically his first time being in the G1 and doing and then like he made it to where most people want to go. So this time he's like, I'm gonna win it. And like I get it. I know he kind of played around last time, but don't also underestimate the fact that without Lij having Naito or having Bushi and having veterans like that, and having that faction behind him, he is a leader in a sense now. Like whether it's with still his teaming up with Shingo every now and then and the other ex Lij members, like now he basically have to do this on his own and represent himself and represent what he feels like the future would look like as part of that new generation. So stake it's big stakes for him. I think that's why you kind of saw a different approach to the press
Mm.
conference because I think this one meant a little bit more to him when you think about where he's placed in the company compared to where he was last year.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Oiwa looked like he was a kid at his first job interview. He talked about his granddad being ill, though, and he will do it for him. Callum Newman looked the same, and he said getting injured was the best thing to happen to him. He's the youngest challenger ever for the IWGP title. He wants to give people a run for the money. Finley was serious too, and seemed to be hinting at this being an important G1. He wins, he's king. If he loses, he's screwed. Jackson, with the Bullet Club's history. Again, Finley, this is the story going into the G1, was like, look, I basically have to win this. Otherwise, they'll be looking for a new leader.
Practically, yeah. I mean, like when you think about the fact that the Bullet Club War Dogs are very much different to kind of how Jay White ran things, like they run things on a tighter ship, the War Dogs. It's like if you're shown as weak, then you're going to be questioned on whether or not you can lead. So there was a lot of pressure on David Finley, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. We also see Evil saying he's got a secret ingredient. It's the him and the House of Torture. Sonata said appearances aren't everything and looked pissed to be there. He dresses like this to speak his mind because obviously he doesn't say a lot. And this, of course, is Tanahashi's last G1. In fact, everyone hopes he can match the young guys. And Gene, as we've talked about with Tanahashi, it may be his last year, but he is at this moment in time, probably his best year that we've seen him, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does seem to be like he's thought, right, if this is my final year, I'm going to do everything in my goddamn power to be remembered as having the toughest year possible. He just seems to have just thought, I'm gonna take it above 100%. And yeah, it worked, obviously.
Yeah, without a doubt. Tai Chi disappeared. Where did Tai Chi go to? Do we know? What's that?
He took a train home. He took a train to his house. He said his piece. He asked President Tanahashi before could he leave after his speech because he had a train to catch, and he was basically just taking advantage of the fact that the first few shows was in his hometown, and he just went home. That's it. He didn't really
Fair
explain
play.
nothing else, and
But
he
why wouldn't you
streamed.
want to? These wrestlers travel so much for their job, but if you're actually that close to your home, why wouldn't you want to
Yeah,
be able to take
he went home and
advantage of
started
that?
streaming because Tachi is a big streamer. So
Oh,
yeah.
fair play.
Follow Tachi on YouTube. I mean, you might not understand Japanese, but he's always playing games. He actually, after almost every match, he streamed some like his thoughts on his G1 performance. So Tachi is
Oh,
hilarious. He's
cool,
great.
cool.
Suji was with the last words. He says he wants to prove how good he is. Okada was mentioned as the youngest winner, I shall say. Block B all looked very smart. We got Shooter saying that this block is the ugliest and his goal is to win. Shingo says Gabe is drunk. Can we get rid of him? Then he called everybody out. Again, you got to love Shingo. The only two men in their 40s. My guess it's Yoshihashi, but he doesn't look it though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would never thought he was. ELP talks about how difficult the last couple of years have been. He's got new shades and they sold them well. Even I wanted a pair. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. Yoshihashi was upset he couldn't do the G1 with his partner Gosu, but he's going to carry chaos in his heart. And Jaxie is a shame after we talk about, these wrestlers, but Hiroki Goto like to talk about his world title run and then getting injured and obviously like filming a role, but
Mhm.
missing the G1. It is a shame,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It really is, especially because again, he's really sort of like done a lot of good within the tag division with Yoshihashi. Just being able to have seen them both be part of the G1 this year would have been really great. And I'm sure that he was like, really supporting his partner back, whilst resting up and stuff. But it's not the same as actually getting a chance to be a part of it, is it?
No, exactly. He's carrying hopes as well. Zack
Mhm.
Sabre Jr. was jazzercising earlier, so he's a little bit tired. He talks about cutting Khan's hair. He says the ELP's glasses are fucking shit. Listen up, you fucking cunts. Cunts left, cunts to the right. He says there's only one winner, and he's going for a shit. And Gina, you could have had that, man. You know what I'm saying, Gina? Look how classy he is. Just take it.
Yeah. Um, I could have had him.
Yeah.
That said,
Yeah.
dripping in sarcasm.
Can you cook vegan food? If you could, you would have been nice, a nice fit. He's very vegan.
Yeah, but
then he's definitely not for me because I'm very not vegan.
Oh yeah, he would hate you. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, and this shit probably smells. But again, we don't want to talk about that, right? Let's just move on anyway. Greater Khan looked smart as fuck, and he said he will dominate the G1. Gabe said he's not drunk for once, and he got real. He's going to unleash a new level of violence. Driller said he's bigger, better, stronger, and they're going to kick the shit out of each other. He talks to Gabe, and they're brothers, and they love each other. But given that monster, and again, not to spoil what's going to happen at the G1. But again, Gina, when you see what Driller and Gabe were going to give each other, again, what we kind of missed out on as well, it is a fucking shame, isn't it? You know, because they would have
Oh,
killed each other.
100%, definitely. I mean, again, it's just a shame because what leads up to it is great, but then it's just a shame of the outcome after.
Yeah, he calls Zach a grump cunt who he met at 13. Good stuff for him. Renarita didn't want to talk. Shooter tried to, but it didn't help. Takeshita was next. He said he watches wrestling, but he's enthralled by him. People will be enthralled by him this summer. And now there's questions. Shooter's seen people fail in the G1 and New Japan. One thing he doesn't want to is lose to Takeshita. Uh-oh. And Takeshita said people think New Japan is secondary to him, but he's stronger than anybody else. And Shingo said it's lined up for a trap. And then someone fell asleep in the crowd. Gabe said his favorite wrestler is himself, and everybody wants a piece of Takeshita. And Monty, I'm going to ask you this before we start as well, because Takeshita obviously not being part, he is, got a contract to New Japan, all that, but mainly an AEW wrestler. Is how much of a backlash is there to him not being in the tournament, because obviously he was last year, but being a contender, so to speak?
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, from the New Japan perspective, it's not even just the AEW stuff. I think people are thinking about AEW just because he spends a lot of time there from most casual fans. They probably see him there more than anything. But he's an outsider from from the very definition of an outsider because his claim to fame comes from DDT. And I know Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi also had that, but they also didn't get popular or as popular as they became until they went to New Japan. He became super duper popular through his conjunction work with DDT and AEW. So he didn't even build a name through New Japan. So a lot of the especially the older school New Japan fans and definitely I don't want to speak for all Japanese fans because I'm pretty sure it's not exactly the same for every one of them and who really love New Japan. But yeah, they're gonna always kind of look at him with a side eye, and then like you mentioned, yeah, he made up to this point. You can say you're double contracted or whatever, but they don't see you enough. You're not on the road 2 shows consistently. You know what I mean. So it's like you're not really if it, you're not really double contracted from some fans' perspective because they still see you more through the AEW lens. So at the end of the day, he's an outsider, and the talent, like you said, fans, no one shied away from that being kind of like an underlying story. And like you got to go with history. Most of the time, if you are an outsider, then you're probably 100% full time New Japan, and that's when you do well in these tournament settings, and not well, but like actually like have a chance to win legitimately. Usually that's what happens. You are full time. So a lot of diehard fans definitely look at him. But I do think his comment about him being strong, I don't think most fans ever would deny that. They don't look at him like he's not one of the best in the world. And I think that's kind of the advantage he have over maybe some others who would come and try to do this. I think Takeshita has kind of earned most fans' respect as a performer. It's just they're gonna always look at him like you're not really our guy. We kind of just got you on loan, even if you are under contract.
Yeah. Well, let's get to it then. So, night one, July 19th, and we got the Ball Stick Boys with the theme. Nice stuff. First match was B Block Yoshihashi upsetting Shingo using the crucifix. And then in A Block, Evil tapped out Callum Newman, thanks to, of course, Bad Luck Fale. B Block, Maloney beat Greater Khan with the Driller Killer. Very, very impressive. The A Block, Yuri Uemura beat Boten Oleg in a fun match. B Block, Shooter Umino got the win over ELP. In A Block, Iowa showed his heart and he upset Finley. Over in Bebop, Gay Kid and Takeshita went to war, but it came at a cost. And the injury meant Gabe would missed action. But at least we had this match, which Takeshita won by making Gabe pass out. You saw Kid land on his knee as well, which kind of looked I mean, Jackson, if you're watching the match, well, kind of like innocuous, the kind of the knee
Mm.
landing in itself, didn't it? You know, you didn't think, oh, that's not a big injury.
Well, I mean, it kind of didn't look like it would be one that would cause much of an injury, you know? Whether or not it was like a small tweak or something, like
Mm.
that's kind of what I think a lot of people presumed.
Yeah, it's weird. And onto A block, Sonada's entrance attire had speakers on them. Picture a kind of multicolored boombox, if you will. I
But
think that'd
I
be right to say.
literally have written in my notes, James, Sonada came out dressed like a boombox.
Thank you very much. Well, there we go.
That's
I'm
all I
glad.
had. Yep.
Well, it didn't help him against Yotsuji, who was dressed as a private detective. He put him away with the Gene Blaster very quickly. In B block, Zack made Ren actually wrestle. The IWGP champion lost to Ren Narita in a good match. I mean, I can't believe it. But again, Gina, Ren Narita can actually wrestle. You know, we see all this House of Torture nonsense, but when he can, he actually can. You know, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, he is really. I'm shocked. I was shocked. I remember that first match and seeing Ren get the win because I was watching it with Jax, and we both said, "Oh yeah, Zach's got this." As soon as we saw Zach coming out, so
Yeah.
we instantly just didn't back Ren in any way. So this win was actually a big shock for me.
Yeah, it really, really was. And the main event, A block, Tanahashi versus Tai Chi. Monty, you and Tai Chi go deep, I know. And the ace is in his final G1. He fought for a bad knee and beat Tai Chi with the high fly flow. And I won't go into every backstage comment, just those that stand out. Our hero, Greater Khan, had already had enough. Gabe Kidd said, fuck. And Zach couldn't fucking believe it either. His legs are made of trombones. So, Marty, what were your thoughts on the first night of the G1? Because this had a bit of everything. As we talked about upsets and all this lot, and a good main event.
Yeah, I mean, the night one usually is probably always booked to be one of the most unpredictable nights for various reasons because you want to get the people who, because a lot of times if you go off viewership, night one is usually one of the best viewed G1s, along with, of course, the last night, because a lot of people are at least trying to at least check out to see. Yeah, and you want to set a tone for the rest of the tournament. Usually, the way they book these things, and and it's always one of those situations where it's like, okay, where are we going this year? Like, where you may come into it expecting the world champion like Zack Sabre Jr. to win or put on his best effort, and he still did. But you get surprised. Okay, this ain't the same. This is not your normal win in this scenario, or you get situations like a Gabe Kidd and Takeshita where we put two guys that are just good are going to go out there and just again what the hell else you pretty much expect from them two. But like that's my point. They set the tone. You get a surprise from a Yoshihashi, which like I said, if you saw that, Yoshihashi again was on the run of a lifetime. He started off that run of a lifetime with that performance, and I think again they just did a good job of setting the tone, letting everybody know, okay, anybody can be dangerous, and even the people that you expect to win, even if they do win, they're gonna have to fight like hell to do it, and that's just kind of like what night one typically does, and I don't think this one disappointed in any way. And I thought the main event was excellent too with Tai Chi and Tanahashi because Tai Chi was at home. You heard the crowd. The crowd was kind of just emotional in general because this is one of Tanahashi's last nights in a big match in this place, but he's going against their hometown hero. So you can kind of tell that they weren't really favoring either side, but they didn't want Tai Chi to lose, and they also didn't want the Ace to lose. So I don't know how you can ask for a better atmosphere than that to kind of kick things off.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. Night two, July 20th, and Gabe started the show. He's got a hyper extended knee. His scheduled opponent, who was Zach, got 2 points. I mean, fuck me, Jaxie. That match would have rocked, wouldn't it? But Gabe is not
I
saying he's
I
out,
was
but
super gutted, man. That was the one match that I was really looking forward to, like on night two, to be honest, because that's a pretty big name. Also, it really did make me like go back and think, oh, I did see him tweak his knee, but I didn't think it was that bad, you know? And it was
yeah,
just,
exactly.
I think it was just wounding because I know that both wrestlers would have given such an epic performance, and now I'm just itching to see Gabe return for the next G1 next year because I know he'll probably smash that too. And I'm all here for it. I'm all here to see it.
Yeah, without doubt. A block, Callum Newman picked up his first win versus Tanahashi. There is something about Newman I just don't like, and I don't know what it is. B block, Shooter Umino and Driller slapped the shit out of each other. Shooter showed fire, but was put down with a Driller killer. 2 in a row for Maloney. And Gina, we mentioned him, as guy to stand out in the B block. And it's not only kind of his build now where he looks fucking massive, but he's putting his performances. He's beaten a guy that was in the main event of the last Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is like, again, even though it's just night two, this is where I really like took Driller a bit more seriously because again, for me, I've not really seen too much of him. I've seen him in some New Japan Wrestle matches, but I've never really like saw him as the main focal points and stuff. So yeah, for me, this match really showcased like he actually could be up there and could probably be one of the top ones if he keeps wrestling this way in the B blocks. So especially like you said, he went against Shota and showed that he could stay on par with him.
Yeah, without a doubt. A block Iowa is a lot bigger than I thought. He matched up well with Bolton. Oleg got his first win with the Kamikaze. In the B block, the old Red Narit was back facing Yoshihashi. Lucky for us, the only Bishamon representative got the win in under 2 minutes officially with a great reversal from a low blow and gave Ren a low blow after. He is on fire at the moment, baby. A block Sonada had a Jaxie, I said he had a mirror jumpsuit as his entrance gear. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, I think I actually have that he was dressed like a sort of mirrored disco ball, you know?
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
would
why
agree with
didn't
that.
we just like hang him up on a piece of string and then he can be our accessory? We'll just we'll watch him as a piece of accessory?
Well, he got serious though, facing Finley. Unfortunately for
Yeah.
Zanardi, he's lost twice in a row now, and Finley picked up his first win. So again, drips on point, but the points aren't on point. That is Sonada.
Yeah.
In B block, two of my favourites clash as Shingo took on the Great Okan. One of them would lose their second match in a row, and our hero downed Shingo to get his first win. In A block, Suji had to take on Farley and Dick, as well as Evil. Even the Young Lions seem to be against Yota. Sometimes everything is evil, as the House of Torture leader one. Damn it. B block, frequent opponents ELP and Takeshita clashed again. These two can do no wrong. Takeshita was like Terminator, but somehow ELP got the win. I mean, Monty, what a fucking match. And again, we've seen these two go at it, but it just seems to be getting better every time as well.
Yeah, I didn't even to explain how good I thought this was. I just put down, just give me a best of seven with these two. I don't even really need context. They can just fight because that's just how good they are at it. And again, I know Takeshita is very popular on the web, and I know because ELP has been through a lot, and ELP is just supremely underrated at this point. Like he's been underrated for a long time, even when he was a junior heavyweight to me. And so hopefully stuff matches like this with people like Takeshita who gets a lot of attention. Hopefully that can shine light on ELP because even though ELP doesn't always win, even though he won here, but he doesn't always get the big wins. ELP is one of the best in the world, and it's not much he can't do in there. And I think a guy like Takeshita is the perfect person to showcase that because Takeshita is in the same way. It's not much he can't do either.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then an A block Taichi versus Yuri Uemura. Zach joined commentary for the main event, and Taichi got the win with the Black Mephisto in an epic matchup. He's going to do it. He says as much in his comments as well. Jackson, what were your thoughts on night two? Because like I said, we saw a few, not surprises as much, but there's some good action.
I thought that night two actually had some excellent matchups. So like Driller and Shota Umino really like impressed me. Really kind of like you said previously, like Shota is a former like champion or winner of this tournament before. Driller really held his own against Shota, so picked up a shocking win in that sense. But again, I think the commentators had been discussing about how much more serious Driller's gotten. Like he's put on weight or lost weight, sorry, to make sure that he was able to qualify for a specific division, and you can really see how serious he was about being taken seriously within this tournament. So that match really stood out for me on night two, and ELP and Takeshita really stood out for me. A lot of the points being what Monty's already brought up between the two.
Yeah, without a doubt. Night 3, July 23rd. Only 5 G1 matches, and it's all about the A block. Newman started fast, but Iowa has taken it to another level and got the win. And I think everyone groaned, including me, when Tanahashi went for the high fly flow, but got caught by Boto No Leg, who won with the kamikaze. There was respect given, but fuck's sake. Sonata was in fishnets for the night, and it was funny to see the referee had enough of the House of Torture
I have to say,
nonsense.
my notes here says Sonada's channeling his inner Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman with those fishnets, because that is instantly what I thought of. I don't know why. It was brilliant.
Well, believe it or not, Sonata got the win over Evil to stop Evil getting free from free and getting his first win. Tai Chi stared into the void, but managed to get the win against Finley. Another great performance with the crowd solely behind Tai Chi. He couldn't, could he? And in the main event, Yuri Uemura versus Yota Tsuji. Last year, Uemura was injured in this very matchup. And again, I think this is the future of New Japan. Tsuji got the win with the Gene Blast. The drill on commentary was excellent. Take note, Zach. Gina, again, it was an excellent main event. What were your thoughts on night 3? And again, we've got so much history now. We know about Uemura and Tsuji. It goes back,
Yeah, definitely. So just real quick, I had the notes for Sonata dressed like a hoe. And then I can remember night 3 because Jaxie was having a go at me the whole time between Takeshita and Rocky Romero and Great Okan and Jacob Austin Young, because I kept calling Jacob Austin Young Callum Newton John. I couldn't get the words to come out correctly. So that was just great. I thought this night 3 was really entertaining, especially with the main event between Suji and Yuya, because again, I still feel quite new to the New Japan scene. So I had like begun by like giving them all nicknames to try and remember who was who, because there's a lot of names to try and take in and then solely
Yeah.
remember them, So I solely remember Suji being, teeth and smile, and Yuya being hair, and then them having the hair versus hair beef. And so that is one of the biggest kind of like rivalries that has stood out to me since I began watching it. So seeing this matchup, it kind of felt like nostalgia to go back to that feud. I thought night 3 was great, really entertaining. And yeah, I still kind of had no inclination or idea who was going to be on top or who was going to, do well in this tournament at this point.
Yeah, without a doubt. Nightfall then, July 24th, B block. Gabe forfeited his match with Shingo, giving Shingo his first 2 points. Two men who both won their first 2 met to find out who would go 3-0. The ever impressive Driller didn't have enough for Yoshihashi. Is he Goto in disguise? Will this be Bishamon's year? We shall find out. Ren Narita brought his House of Torture nonsense facing ELP. ELP survived Kanemaru but ran into a low blow and Hell's Guillotine for Ren to pick up the win. He is now pinned the world and TV champion, has Ren Narita. Great Khan met Takeshita in a match I'm just glad we got. Styles make matches and they traded like warriors in the middle of the ring, but Takeshita has a raging fire which put out the Great Khan. And the main event was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shooter in a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom, and Umino got his revenge. The champion hasn't actually won a G1 match yet. I knew he'd lose this one, as he said he'd never lost a singles match in Nagaka. So, Monty, you can kind of, sometimes they give it away a little bit. But what were your thoughts on night 4?
Yeah, but Zach's always kind of arrogant like that. I'm sure he said that before and won. So like that,
Right.
it's a good thing about Zach is that he may have gave it away, but you can't really count him out uh, because of his track record. But yeah, man, Night 4 was cool. I mean, Yoshihashi, like I said, possessed by the spirit of Goto and a little bit of Okada because at this point he's just unstoppable. So, Ren and ELP, I thought was solid. You know what I mean? I know some people may not like the Torture Crew. At this point, I already know what to expect. They are the bad guys. They are. I mean, come on now. The leader is called Evil, so stop expecting them to change all of a sudden. And but yeah, that sometimes that may shape how you feel about that. that type of match. But I enjoyed it. Takeshita, I mean, at this point, I was already put down. He just can't miss. You know, he's going to bring out the best in whoever they find. So it's always cool to see that side of Okan because as much as I love Okan, Okan can go to the other side of the spectrum sometimes. I'm not saying he can be bad, but his matches can either be absolutely, bangers, or they could be like, okay, what the hell am I watching? So that's kind of like Okan's career has been so far. But Takeshi's got the best out of him. And again, Zach is the world champion. Zach, like you mentioned, never lost a singles match there. So you pretty much knew walking out that all right, he's up against it a little bit. And then, he's called out the younger generation, so with Ren and then this one, you even saw if I'm Zach, I'm protesting this loss because I saw Red Shoes literally rooting for his son in the middle of that match. So like I'm just saying, I know he can't help it, but I'm just saying, like, come on now. We see that bias. But yeah, the young guys want to prove themselves with fighting Zach, and I think that just makes everybody better. And I think that's what we need in this current era. Like I left that out when I was talking about Takeshita early. Like it's not even so much as I don't think some people don't like Takeshita too. I just think we also in a very vulnerable ass period right now in New Japan for the fans. We don't really have a new ace currently selected. We got a lot of people trying to prove themselves. So with a guy like Takeshita being put in the spotlight, some people are worried that that doesn't really do much for New Japan because he is contracted other places. But Zach, in my opinion, is definitely right there. If he's not the ace, I don't know if they don't want a foreign ace, but he's definitely the ace in my opinion right now currently because he's able to get the best out of the young generation. He get the best out of the older guys, and right there in between people who want to prove themselves. So I think this match is, even though he didn't win, you saw a flash of why some people at early in Shota's career was like, oh no, Shota's the guy. Because I saw a lot of Shota fans who really didn't have a lot to say. They've had their head down a lot for Shota lately. And they were really back online and proud after this match because Shota really showed up. So this is a great match.
Without a doubt. We're going to check the scores after matches 3, 6, and 9 for each wrestler. So we are 3 matches down already. A block: Evil, Bolton Oleg, Oyawa, and Yotsuji with Tai Chi all on 4 points. Yuri Amora, Newman, Tanahashi, Finley, and Sanada on 2. And in B block, Yoshihashi on 6. Driller, Shooter, Takeshita, and Ren on 4. Zack Sabre Jr. on 2 with ELP, Greater Khan, Shingo, and of course Gabe Kidd on 0 points. And Jaxie, I mean, talk about real surprises there. It's just, I mean, Zach not picking up a win yet. Like 3 matches in. I know he got the points, but apart from that, anybody else take your eye?
I mean, again, the one thing I do want to kind of point out from just adding on to what Monty said, that the one thing that no one cannot dispute is how hardworking Zack Sabre Jr. is as well within New Japan, and he proves that he could be that ace if New Japan want to let him. So we'll see whether or not that sort of takes form. In terms of standing out, not for good reasons, but I was incredibly shocked at how many wins so far Ren Narita was picking up. This is partly due to like sort of the constant involvement of the House of Torture, but at the same time, it was very shocking considering this is his very first G1 things, So yeah, it was interesting for sure. But I also kind of felt like David Finlay was having a like sort of baddish start to his G1 compared like similar to Zack Sabre Jr. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, without doubt, yeah. Well, it's interesting to see. Again, we're still very early in this, so everything can still change. July 25th, night 5. A block: Gabe Kidd announced the doctors can't clear him and he has to withdraw. The positive note: he has a message from the fans, and when he's back, it's the best version of him you'd ever seen. One of my picks. It is just a shame. And Gina, again, we talked about Gabe missing out. It's a shame missing out the G1 and hopefully Billy next year. But it was weird he was cleared for Forbidden Door when it was lights out, still cage match as well, considering how, soon after it was from the G1.
Yeah, I will admit that did shock me that he was announced for that match, especially because of the caliber and in which the stakes were set with that match. You know, it wasn't just a normal one. It was like a lights out cage fight. So, you know, it's going to be super brutal. Yeah, I don't feel like it mixed well, like in terms of like coming out of watching G1 knowing he was injured and he's come straight into this. Hopefully
Yeah.
he'll be safe in that.
Well, let's just remember where you kind of, your bread is buttered, mate. Do you know what I mean? I mean, AEW might look quite nice, but you're still, New Japan, which I'm sure a lot of people are saying. Sonada's entrance gear, Jaxie, I want to check what Sonada's entrance gear. What did you put down? Because I've got a great one.
Sorry, which date is this?
This is oh my God, I have to go back as well. July 25th, night 5.
Sorry, I'm looking through my notes. Oh, I don't have a note on Sonada's gear on this one. What did you have written down?
He was a clean shaven Giant Gonzalez. That's
That's a clever one.
That's what he looked like. He attacked Bolton Oleg early, but Bolton continued his fine form, downing Sonada with the kamikaze. Two young guns clashed as Callum Newman took on Yuri Uemura. Yuri got the win with the deadbolt suplex. One thing I don't like is spitting in others' faces. Just, not just hygiene, but just so disrespectful. I just really don't like it. Marty Asami might be the 21st guy in the G1. He again stood up to the House of Torture. Farley cleared the ring of the young lions, and Monty Mantaichi took the big man out, but had to still deal with Evil, who picked up the win. And Monty, how involved are refs allowed to get? Because again, you spoke about red shoes with watching his son, he might want to do it. But again, Marty Asami was just, I literally thought he was going to rip his top off and just start busting heads.
Referee discretion, man. Referee discretion. I mean, I think at this point, House of Torture, especially Evil, have done so much like over the last 5 years to where they like, you know what, ref, do what you gotta do because the ref bump or something is coming at this point. Like I think we all just kind of turn a blind eye to involvement when Evil's involved because the amount of ref bumps or pushing the ref or doing stuff behind the ref back. Like, I mean, at some point, Marty got to do something, right? Like, you got to have some pride, I guess. So I think we kind of ignored in that situation, but yeah, I mean, hey, the ref makes the decisions. You kind of go with that because the last thing they'll do, it doesn't really matter. I don't know what you have to do to get disqualified in a New Japan. I know usually they don't go as far, but like they won't ever disqualify you. You gotta make. I don't know what you have to do, like literally. So yeah, I think at this point, some of the referees, especially Marty, is like, I'm sick of Evil. I'm gonna do something. Even if it is borderline, you know, a little bit of it's a collusion going on, but you kind of turn a blind eye because we know what Evil does.
Yeah, fuck Evil. Oiwa showed his fighting spirit against the favourite Suji, even hitting him with his own spear, but couldn't get the job done. Yota rallied and scored the win in a really fun match. Very creative pin as well. In the main event, Tanahashi faced Finley, and the ace hung in there and rolled up the Bullet Club leader to win. Finn was devastated. He said, "What type of leader can't be an old man?" But talking about an old man, he sure can play the air guitar still. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on night 5 and Finley slowly unraveling as well?
Yeah, again, this goes back to my earlier point where I just felt like, even in the tag matches during that one, Zack Sabre Jr. picking up a loss, David Finlay even picking up a loss. I felt, the ones that very much going into starting the G1, I felt were going to be the strongest, actually were both like the weakest. And this like continued to sort of like show that like things possibly weren't going to go as expected. I think at this point I definitely was wondering like, whether or not Finley would be getting out of the G1 quite early on. I guess the one match that really did sort of like stand out for me during that night though was Oiwa versus Suji. I thought Oiwa held his own quite well against Suji, and I think that given the fact that I'm not a veteran, but know a little bit about New Japan, to say that I still feel like Oiwa was still quite young and inexperienced in some way. I felt like in that match he really did sort of hold his own as best he could against Suji.
Yeah, without a doubt, completely agree. On to night six, then July 26th, and they had a 10 bell salute for Hogan. B block, Big Hash couldn't stay undefeated forever. Hero Great Account downed Yoshihashi to continue his momentum, and then for the first time ever, ELP faced Zack Sabre Jr. And Jr., it's weird when you get to certain matches, you think, what, they've never faced off? Like, you know what I mean? Like, even what, never? They're in the same promotion. You know what I mean? It makes sense. They're good wrestlers, but first time ever they were facing.
Yeah, definitely. This really shocked me. Again, I'm not exactly a pro of watching New Japan regularly, but this shocked me to even hear that these two hadn't faced each other before or yet in this promotion. I don't know. Like it's just crazy to think about it. But then when you realize how many people are actually in the promotion, I can see how they may never have crossed paths.
Yeah, but still, like you talk about with like if it was WWE or something like that, like first time matchups, I don't think it really kind of a thing. But even with this, you're like, well, these guys are champions as well. It's quite interesting. Anyway, everybody should watch this match. It was excellent, and the IWGP champion finally managed a win. Ren Narita faced Shooter Umino next. Apart from weird powerbomb attempt, the match wasn't bad. For the first time ever, Narita beat Umino, and the main event was Takeshita versus Shingo. My God. These two went to war. This was another must watch. Takeshita made Shingo pass out with the chicken wing. Man, Monty, did it hurt? Did it hurt to see your man go down to an outsider like that? Eh? He nearly fought his heart out.
No, it didn't hurt. I mean, it was. I mean, come
All
on,
right.
it was a war. I mean, what Shingo does. Shingo's very, very good, and I I think the thing is that outsider or not, like when you fight like that, and at this point I wasn't really used to Takeshi to actually even finishing people with that move in that fashion. So that was another thing I thought was really just a respect to Shingo and how much of a monster he really is. I thought he matched him, and they just left it in the ring. And to me, if you watch the way the match went, Takeshi to survive. So it was no way to kind of there's no way to kind of be put my head down. And then right after the match, the Kessler literally was like he just refused to lose to him because he respects him so much. So it's like it's like a loving relationship type of deal. Because the funny thing you mentioned about the Kessler being an outsider, Shingo is also an outsider. Shingo is a Noah. He's a Noah guy. He's he spent time in America too for a long time before finally crossing over and joining his one of his good friends who he trained with in Naito in New Japan. So it was really one of those things where it's different, and that's kind of like it's funny you brought that up. That's the difference between him and Takeshita because when Shingo did cross over, he crossed over full time and gave his all to New Japan. The fans embraced him, and they not necessarily not embracing Takeshita, but some of the people who may not be is because it's not a full time commitment type of deal. It's a I'm still in DDT, I'm still in AEW, but I'm also in New Japan too type of deal.
Yeah, without doubt. Well, you talk about the backstage comments, and again, Jaxie, when it comes to the matchup, so the backstage do add some stuff sometimes. I mean, Zach gave ELP his respect, but still called him a cunt. He said he will throw himself in the ocean if it's all House of Torture semi-finals. And Takeshita, as Monty mentioned as well, said Shingo is the one he can't lose to because of respect. He respects him the most. So again, you can kind of see why they're fighting so hard as well with these comments, you know?
For sure. Again, I feel like this sort of tournament brings out the best in everyone's sort of like competition. Like it brings out the greatest competition. It gives the greatest sort of amount of like challenges where people are motivated to prove themselves not only to the crowd but to themselves. And New Japan does it best. So this just continued to like strengthen seeing how much different wrestlers wanted it.
Yeah, without doubt. Gina, what were your thoughts on night six? Because again, what a fucking banger of a main event as well.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I do feel biased because I feel like I've got a lot more rapport with Takeshita, obviously, because I see him in AEW a lot more often. But seeing this match, I remember just feeling really like kind of gutted because I really liked Takeshita, but I really like Shingo every time I saw him in New Japan as well. So it's like I don't know who to like side with here because I like them both. But I still thought night 6 was great. Again, you're seeing these same guys over the course of a few couple of days rather than once on a weekly basis. And I just find like all of these matches just went as hard as the first 5 nights.
Yeah. And as you guys have mentioned as well, and I hope you didn't watch all the kind of tag matches from the G1, but again, these people were competing kind of on the undercard before the G1 every night as well. So it's not like
Oh
any of
yeah,
these wrestlers had a
just
night
to say,
off.
I watched all the tag matches as well. I've actually found them
Oh,
quite interesting, like leading
I
up
know, yeah.
to, like all of the one-on-one matches. So like it was really entertaining, to be honest.
Well, that's good. I just didn't have enough time to get all that in, but credit to you. So night 7, then July 27th, A block. It was Meaty Men to start as Bolton Oleg and Yota Tsuji slapped meat, and seeing heavyweights just throw each other around is always a joy. Bolton will be a threat to Yota, I think, for years. The finish wasn't clean, but the Gene Buster got Tsuji the win. Callum Newman started quick again this time versus David Finlay. It worked as Callum picked up a win over a man who has said to himself the noose is tightening round his neck. Finn is now 1-4. To put it in perspective, Tsuji has 4 wins, and so Finlay has 4 losses already. Sanada's
And did
outfit.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you see Sonada's outfit on this one? Because I've got some notes.
Well, go on, hit me with it.
Well, I got some question marks. So that I've put, what did Sonada do? He looks like he's either dressed like a tape measurer or white netted curtains. I can't decide.
I went quite into it. I said his outfit was quite understated. It's just a white jumpsuit with highlighted trim.
Well, that sounds like it would be in a fashion magazine. Whereas Sonada's outfit actually wasn't that good enough to be pictured in a fashion magazine.
Well, anyway, he took on Tai Chi. He wasn't having any nonsense. There was quite a bit, and it ended with a guitar shot by Sonada on Tai Chi to get the win. And we weren't through with House of Torture shenanigans as the leader of the group took on Uemura. Lucky for us, Uemura got the win, yes. And in the main event, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Ryo Oiwa. And a somewhat surprised, Oiwa picked up the biggest win of his young career. ELP was on commentary for the night. But again, Gina, we mentioned Oiwa as well, kind of being new to the scene. But to beat Tanahashi is a statement win. Not many people can get to say that.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the way that Tanahashi's been going in this tournament. I kind of, went into this match thinking Tanahashi's got the win down. So again, it's nice to be shocked and always going in assuming the match, who's going to win that match just based on popularity. I think, it shows that not everyone kind of goes with that route. So yeah, definitely one of the biggest wins that I've seen Oiwa get in the Japan matches that I've seen so far. But again, just like my sister said, with regards to the tag matches, I watched all the tag matches as well. And I think that really helped me actually understand some of the beef between the wrestlers as well, and obviously upcoming ahead of their singles match the next night. It would just help add to the beef between them. So yeah, I really enjoyed watching it and finally understanding. It's like when you first start watching football and you learn what offside is. You're like, oh gosh, okay, like it's clicking in now how this whole tournament works. And so that really helped me get a real good grip of this. This is my 3rd tournament, I think. So really understanding it now, it was more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, we've had that excellent point there as well. So Monty, night 7 thoughts then, please.
By the way, I learned offside through FIFA. I hated offside. I was like, well, come on, bro. Like, I got it. And like, oh no, offside. Like, come on, dog. Anyway, uh, this is a like you said, a really fun night from a lot of reasons. Of course, James, unlike you, I watch the tags because I'm a psychopath, so that's just what I do.
You're all
But it is
crazy.
I do recommend, especially for them since they are still gradually, like when you're learning, it's perfect to watch the tags. Because like you mentioned, you find out stuff or you see things that you don't even know, but you don't have to know about the prior history, but you see them do things in the tag match that give you enough motivation to want to watch them one on one anyway. Just from them being aggressive towards each other in a tag match or staring each other down and all that type of stuff they like to do to hype up the next match. So I do think, especially for newer viewers, it really does help to just watch as much of it as you can because you get a lot more context for what's coming up. It's not just a tournament match. But anyway, uh, again, I thought again Tachi and Suji was coming up after the Suji Oleg match, and I was really excited for that because they both were doing so well in the tournament. At this point, all you can say is wow about Dave Finley because it's just like again, I wasn't expecting that. Like I may not have chose him. I predicted that he would even be there, even though he's always one of those people who I gotta give credit to or like assume that he has a chance. And because is a guy you assume has a chance, the way he started was just even shocking to me. Who I've seen people have rough starts, but this was just a little bit further than even I was expecting. And but I do think it was a good story, and I think they really look at Newman as the guy, a guy to replace that hole that Osprey has kind of left when it comes to like the foreigner. Now, I'm not saying he is the next Osprey. I know a lot of people, especially diehard New Japan fans, can't really even stand to look at him. I think he okay. I don't mind. I don't
There's just
mind
something
him, but I
about
get
him.
it.
There's just something about him, but I can't put my finger on it. I don't
That's
know what
why
it
I
is.
think he's gonna be a great heel, just based on the way people look at him already. It's like if he ever hits that switch and just go evil, not necessarily House of Torture, but like just be like Dave Finley esque or just like Jay White esque, they might have something with him because people already don't like him and he haven't really done anything. I don't know, maybe he's smug to people or whatever, but whatever it is, I think Newman has a bright future and the company likes him, so we'll see. All I said was damn you Sonata because it's the Holy Emperor and that Sonata at this point to me, you don't need points. Tachi needs points, bastard. But anyway, Uemura, he's the man who's man. He is the light that engulfs darkness. That's literally what he said word for word. I thought that was so dope. I was like, you know what, Uemura? Like Uemura grew on me so much in this tournament. We can continue to talk about it, but like matches and performances like this is where I was like, Uemura. I get it. I get it. Anyway, but yeah, Oiwa, to me, I definitely think this tournament showed that he might not be exactly where he wants to be, but Tanahashi, I thought gave everything to help get him where he's wanted to be. And I think as the tournament went on, Oiwa only got better, and that's what you want to see from young guys. So night 7 was a pretty good night for me.
Yeah, without a doubt. Night 8, then July 30th, B block. I was so up to date. I watched this live. Obviously, not the tag matches. That won't be the case soon, I guess. ELP and Greater Khan fought around the arena. These two have traded the TV titles, so they know each other well. And our hero hit the super eliminator off the top rope, so he is on the roll after that win. And Jackson, we mentioned as well how well Ren Narita has done, mostly thanks to the rest of House of Torture, who attacked Driller at the start of this. But Maloney survived, hitting one of his own low blows, and the Driller killer to send him joint top for now. So Driller again and Ren are the kind of pacemakers at this moment in time.
It was a very entertaining match, to be honest, because I still think that both of them fought with a certain tenacity that made you feel, you couldn't actually guess an outcome for this match. Driller fought with so much tenacity that like I felt like maybe he could overcome House of Torture. Obviously, there's a lot of them, so I think it's pretty hard to do that. But again, that this night was filled with some really great matches. The main event was exhausting to watch. That's what I've put written down. It was exhausting.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's not been great for Shingo, whose only 2 points came from Gabe's injury. Shota Umino meant business, but it was, of course, Shingo that won with the Burning Dragon. And then what a main event we have for the first time ever, one-on-one, Takeshita versus Zack Sabre Jr. And Takeshita matched Zack's technical ability, while Sabre matched the striking, leading to a great match. The IWGP champion made Takeshita tap with a choke, even after coming off the top. Zack said, "You may be the alpha, but he's the fucking world champion, dickhead." Gina, again, it's a statement
What
by
a
Zack.
great statement.
That's what I'm saying. Zack's just getting better, and so is Takeshita, because Takeshita is showing different sides to him. Do you know what I mean? Different skill sets, so to speak. And so was Zack in this one.
Yeah, definitely. This match, the only note I've got next to it is exhausting match, but 5 stars, because these two just didn't want to give it up. Neither wanted to lose to the other. And again, you just see this determination from Takeshita that we don't necessarily get to see every week on AEW, because there's not that much time given to his matches, and it's not just a dig against AEW. They just, showcase a lot more matches in a little shorter time limit, so they get shorter matches. With these matches, they're much longer, so you just get to see like how they deal with their stamina as well. It's a lot, but the match was definitely 5 stars between Takeshita and Zach. It was just great.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. Jackson, what were your thoughts on night 8? Like I said, we saw a couple of really, really good matches then.
Yeah. Again, just another showcase of, great tag team matches, which was really fun to watch. Really shocked when during the tag team matches that night, you had Ryohei Oiwa and Hartley Jackson pick up a tag team win against Evil and Dick Togo, and yet they still had other members of House of Torture out there, like Bad Luck Fale and stuff, like providing a lot of distraction. And then them still picking up the win. I did actually put shock win, didn't expect it. But I think that Drilla Maloney and Ren Narita, Zack Sabre Jr. and Takeshita were both standout matches. I also would agree that Takeshita and Zack Sabre Jr. gave a 5-star worthy match, and I would love to see them one-on-one again in future. That's not part of the G1 tournament.
Yeah, without a doubt. Night 9 then, August 1st, A block, and Sonada with, Jaxie, I don't know what you put as Sonada down, but I put with Dalmatian hair and a shiny jumpsuit. I think that'd be fair.
Yep, I actually put he's dressed like Pongo and Purdy from 101 Dalmatians.
Excellent. Well, he was in action versus Callum Newman. The young gun picked up the win with his finisher. And Monty, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I think I'm starting to like Evil. I mean, I don't want him to win the G1, but I'm not hating it, Someone that was Oiwa, who felt the full force of the House of Torture leader. Evil got the win after normal shenanigans with the sharpshooter. But I think the thing I like about Monty is that you know what you're going to get. Do you know what I mean? You know it's going to be nonsense and loads of outside interferences, as Jackson mentioned. It even happens in nondescript tag matches,
Yeah, and that's what I'm not trying to act like you late to the party because I understand people
It takes me a
apprehension.
while, God damn it! I didn't
And
like
it's
Bianca
not just
Belair to
you.
start with.
We'll talk about it later. It's not just you. Like, trust me, when we get to it, like the divide I saw on things is hilarious when you like both guys or when you outside of it because some people really detest what Evil does and I just don't understand how you can because it's literally the same commitment some people have to 30-minute like the same commitment that Zach has to submission wrestling is the commitment Evil has to being evil. Like that's literally like to cheating and breaking the rules. He has went full left. He is the big bad. He is every Memphis heel. He is even, in my opinion, I know some people are going to find this controversial. I'm not trying to say you give him the nickname, but is he dirtier than Ric Flair? To me, yes. Like, I don't even, like, prime Ric Flair wasn't as consistently bad to me as evil, but it's literally the same stuff that Rick would do. Every big match, every one-on-one encounter, the reason why I say evil is probably a little worse because, like you said, it could be a random tag match for no stakes, and they gonna cheat. You know what I'm saying? So, evil is, in my opinion, like at the top of his game because of that. Like, it's the same commitment others have to their style is the commitment that evil has to his style. And I think that's what some of the reason why House of Torture is so popular, even though they're supposed to be the bad guys, is because of that. It's like after a while you start to be like, wow, they really committed to just do it the worst thing possible. It doesn't really matter what they got to do; they'll do it. And I think that's why they got so popular. So again, I understand why some people don't like Evil or don't or detest his style. But like you said, after a while, you really start to be like, I appreciate the fact that at every match, I is like, how is the good other guy gonna figure out to overcome evil, whether it's numbers or whatever it is? How do you figure it out? And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and like I said, it'd be the first time that a 3-man team would win the G1 if Evil was to win because of
Exactly.
that he's getting. But someone that was in trouble, another loss for Finley, and it would be basically over. The Bullet Club leader had to deal with a big Bolton Oleg, and Finn got the win with a pin combo that rolled up that big sausage, and he was still in fighting. Taichi and Yotsuji went to war. My two standouts right now. Taichi pulled off a minor upset, beating Yota with the Black Mephisto in a great match. But again, Jackson, this is what I kind of love about the G1 as well, because it's kind of a minor upset, but again, like I said, in the G1, the level playing ground, Taichi has got everything to fight for as well, you know?
Exactly. Again, I feel like we've kind of said this before, but the G1 really brings out the determination within these wrestlers and how much they badly want this, and you truly start to believe that this means something to you, you know? And that's kind of like how the G1 should be treated. It should be treated in a way where, like, you know, for any wrestler, this is your one opportunity to prove that you actually could handle it, could handle the pressure, could actually make it, could be the one to pull off the upset at Wrestle Kingdom, you know, become new champion. And this was an impressive match. This was one that I didn't see going in Taichi's favor, and it did. So I'm incredibly impressed, to be honest. And not to say that I wasn't impressed by Taichi before, but just in terms of the caliber of this match, it was a long match. It was quite exhausting. And you know, he had a lot of stamina. He kept up, did well,
Yeah.
and he deserved that win, to be honest.
And it shows you how difficult the G1 is. I like the juxtaposition of kind of Finley, like kind of struggling to stay in it, and Yotsuji's kind of got to a level, and he don't want to be overconfident. You know what I mean? Like you can be too comfortable and then get caught that way as well. So you know, what is the best way to be at this moment in time?
Yeah, you're right.
The main event was all about Tanahashi. He was on 99 wins in the G1. Could he get to 100? Standing in his way was Yuri Uemura. In a word, no, he couldn't. Yuri hit the deadbolt suplex for the win. And again, during on commentary was great and showed his love for Tanahashi. Uemura called himself the sun. You know, the kind of light in the dark, so to speak. I thought that was good. Gina, what were your thoughts on night 9? Because again, we're getting into it now.
Yeah, definitely. Night 9 was very explosive, even with regards to tag matches, seeing Driller and Taiji versus Takeshita and Rocky Romero. That was a great match. I really enjoyed it. You know, the main matches were great. Again, I didn't see Tanahashi losing that match. I thought he was going to win against Yuya. So it not only did, you know, someone else get a win over Tanahashi, so did Yuya. And that's like really big in my eyes because, you know, for me, Tanahashi's the vet. He's the one that they're always going to push, and especially in his last year. So to get a win over him is a big deal. So yeah, again, I wasn't keeping note of like the points each of them were getting, but thanks to obviously the commentary, they would always keep you updated with, you know, who was on what score at that time. So, but either way, it was still a great win for you, yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird you mentioned that because the scores right now, we're going to get into them. Evil, Yotsuji, Yuri Uemura currently share the A block lead, all at 8 points. Taichi, Oleg, and Newman with Oiwa on 6. Sanada, Finn, and Tanahashi hanging on with 4. On tonight 10, August 2nd, B block, Yoshihashi looked to continue his fine form, but a fired up Shota Umino just had too much for him. Shota has been inconsistent, but could he go on a run now? Points were desperately needed for ELP and Shingo, who clashed. Shingo survived and hit the last of the dragon for the win. It's not looking good for ELP, but we will check the scores after the main event. The semi-main was the first time ever meeting between Driller Maloney and Takeshita. It was as brutal as we could have hoped. Takeshita got the win, but Driller showed he is a true heavyweight now. And again, Jaxie, I know we talked about Driller or not in this, but he stood up. He took one for New Japan, so to speak, and Takeshita showed that he is a monster.
Again, another great match that I would suggest anyone go watch because, like you said, Takeshita just really showed sort of like his dominance at this point. But I also wouldn't take anything away from what Driller produced in that match. He continued to like all these attempted counters. Not all of them paid off, but you know you could see that he is learning with each match he goes into, and you could tell like there was just like a certain playfulness that both of these wrestlers had with one another. It was a really fun match to watch.
Yeah, really, really good. Main event was Slap Happy Zach versus Great O'Khan. Our hero has never beaten Sabre Jr. in a one-on-one match, and the streak continued as the IWGP champ got the win with an arm bar submission. Monty, what were your thoughts on night 10?
Yeah, I thought this was a solid night. You know, Yoshihashi, I'm just so proud of him. I mean, he's really coming to his own. He's a real fighter these days. I remember those days when they used to say he was by far the worst member of the New Japan roster. Similar story to kind of Tai Chi in a sense of kind of being overshadowed in the past, and Yoshihashi had it even worse because he was in a faction and best friends with Okada. So he, you know, Naito kind of got overshadowed by Okada, but Yoshihashi got a whole nother level of overshadowing when it came to that. So he was just known as Okada's friend, and he didn't really win much. So to perform the way he does now these days in the single setting, you know, it's just incredible to me as somebody who's watched him for a long time. I figured Shota would get the win, but at this point, Yoshihashi was doing so good. It's just like it's a shame that he got to lose. But you know, ELP, you know, he don't win, but every match was just being fun. It's like, yeah, you know, I know he's eliminated, but it's like one of them tournament runs where it's like, you know, he may not have won much or did got the big victories, but I really enjoyed every time I watched him. And a similar thing, in my opinion, for Okan, who really he struggled to get big wins in general in these situations so far in his career. But again, a lot of his matches have been enjoyable, and Zach again bringing out the best in his opponent. Just incredible in my opinion. And you know, I think one day Oka will be the one who wins. You know, I know that's his real last name, but the Great Okan will be a winner in my opinion one of these days. He's always been popular, and I just think he'll get over the hump eventually because I think he's still supremely talented. And then as far as taking Driller, I mean, it was physical. I mean, that chair spot insane, and the finish was so nice. I just thought both guys did a really good job, and I haven't really said much about Drillum because I kind of wait. I kind of sit back and wait when it comes to certain guys, and but I do think he's settled into being a heavyweight nicely, and we'll see how long. I mean, we'll see how far he can go, but I think it's still like a hierarchy between like him and Gabe, even when it comes to popularity, but with Gabe spending time elsewhere and injured and all that, I do think this tournament did a really good job of kind of advancing where Driller may be in people's mind.
Yeah. Down. Speaking of the scores, like I said, El Fantasmo is the first mathematical elimination of the tournament with no path to get to what will be a floor of 10 points to move on to the playoffs. Shingo is at 6, with everybody else at 8, with 3 matches left in B block. And Gina, I don't know talk about the G1 with certain surprises. The TV and global champion are out now. I know Gabe couldn't really do much with the injury, but to have 2 champions drop out the G1 first wouldn't have been my predictions.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't have been mine either. Again, I didn't know what to expect going into this G1 because it's not something that I watch weekly, that I'm on top of who's being pushed right now, who's hot with the crowds right now, etc. You know, things like that. So I really didn't know how to sort of take the outcome or the build up to the outcome of this G1. But it was, again, very enjoyable. I loved it.
Again, we don't know who's going to go, but we don't expect it to be the champions. Night 11, August 3rd, A block, and we started with Power versus Speed as Callum Newman faced Bolton Oleg, both on 6 points, but one would carry on their momentum, and it was Bolton who got the win with the Kamikaze. Up next was Iowa versus Tai Chi, who's producing banger after banger. This was another one. Iowa has been great in this G1 as well and picked up the win with the grip, a clothesline that needs to be renamed. I mean, Jaxie, I'm not an expert when it comes to finishing moves, but the grip's not really going to work, is it?
Yeah, I don't remember them calling it that, if I'm honest. But yeah, I have to agree with you on Oiwa, though. I think he surprised me the most in terms of me not thinking badly about him, but also not thinking that he was going to be able to accomplish much within the G1, given the names involved in the G1 this year. But he put on a great performance.
Yeah, what about that? And then Sonada had a see-through jacket. That's all I put. It's like nice and basic for Sonada. As he
Yeah,
took
it
on.
was quite basic for compared to the rest of his outfits.
Exactly, as he took on Yuri Amora. And it's crazy how certain wrestlers pass each other in the hierarchy, so to speak. You know, Yuri now looking more and more like a star. And the match was going well to the ref bump. Of course, there was a guitar shot. Sonada stopped Uemura from going top. But I mean, I think when we all, when I started watching it, Sonada's definitely involved. You know, winning the IWGP World Title, it is very funny to see. And then Finley got the jump on Evil in the semi-main. David was a man fighting not only for revenge but for his status in the G1. Finn turned super babyface, taking out Dick and Farley, pulled up Evil after the shady shot, and hit his finisher to win. Overkill much, but again, Monty, where's this Finley been? This is the old action Finley that we haven't seen before.
Only thing I can say is the hatred for where he's at with Evil must have took over, and I also think he was in survival mode too, I think the ongoing feud definitely motivated him, motivated the energy around the match, and I do think what I love the most about it too, and another reason why I'm such an evil guy, not literally, I guess, but hey, I'm such an evil guy as a fan, and I always was like, but even before House of Torture, I love evil. But even this version of evil, in my opinion, the reason why I get a kick out of it so much is, despite you would think that because he has so much help and he loses, that makes him look bad, but the way this is executed, he will still somehow just look. He's just still evil. Like, that's how deep into the role I think he is at this point. So if anything, you just gain. The only thing that really happens is the babyface gain a lot from overcoming House of Torture at this point. It's not like Evil looks any less menacing, because at the end of the day, Evil always has an advantage or a plan.
Yeah, without a doubt. And in the main event, the hunt for 100 was still in it for Tanahashi, but he had to go through Yosuji to get it. And get it he did with a high 5-0, showing why he's still the ace. This was a good match. And Monty, can you just help me out with the maths here as well? Because again, I'm just thinking, if that's 10 G1s with 10 in each block and winning 10 of them, I think that's the maths. But how many? But that's incredible record.
Yes, he's never been under 10 points in a G1. Even in his down years, he wins at least 5 of the matches. Basically, Tanahashi. I know Okada has. I think, I don't know if they're tied or Okada got like one more than him now or whatever when it comes to overall G1 wins. I have to look up the stats. I'm sure either way it go, they close. I don't know. They could both be at 4. Okada got 4 and not Tanahashi only has 3. But either way it goes, at the end of the day, Tanahashi overall, just year by year, even past his prime, is still, if not the greatest G1 performer ever. He is one of the greatest G1 performers ever. And some of that is just because of his longevity. But like, I think that should just explain to everybody how good and how long he has been the ace of New Japan. Like, he has literally been in a lot of G1, and like, I think he only, like, his first time missing was, I think, last year, right? I think that was like his first time ever missing a G1. So like, he is literally one of the greatest performers in this setting ever. And it's just, again, it's one of the reasons why I think New Japan is going to miss him so much. Like, honestly, I was sitting there watching his performance here and just overall in the tournament, and I'm like, I really don't want him to leave, because I really can't imagine what New Japan gonna be without him. That's how I am right at this point when it comes to Tanahashi. And even when you got a guy like Cena, who's retired, who I like to I've always kind of compared them to each other. I can imagine WWE without him. They've showcased it plenty of times. He's had time off. Tanahashi has not. Tanahashi has always been there. He's always been the man. Even with Okada being on top, or even with Naito being on top, it was still Tanahashi show. Still, a lot of merch, a lot of things were done for the ace to still be prominent in your mind. And I think it's just going to be so crazy. And it was good to see him get this history making, type of stat down. And I just think at the end of the day, it's always going to be fun for me personally as somebody who watched him. And to be honest, I still didn't get to see the best of him. Like, when it was literally only Tanahashi back in the mid 2000s for the most part, and like a couple other guys who were great too, but like it was Tanahashi's show back then. He saved this company, and like I said, that's him at his prime. I didn't even get to see that. I got to see him towards the end of his prime, and really like that the twilight years, and I still am marveled at how much fun it is to root for him. So it was Avatar time definitely after this one. So this is just again the G1 and this entire year for New Japan. Despite trying to get the new generation off the ground, it's been all about the Tanahashi, and as it should be.
Yeah. So I mean, Jackson Night 11 thoughts, and also, I mean, it's crazy what we've kind of experienced watching New Japan these last few years. We've watched everything change, like every major wrestler leave, even like with Tanahashi now going to be like the last one of that generation left. Jackson, what are your thoughts?
No, I have to agree with you on that. I think that again, night eight is it? Was another great showcase. I think the match that stood out
11.
for me.
Night
Oh,
11.
11. Sorry, 11. I think the match that stood out for me was, David Finlay picking up a win here. I think you and Monty kind of described it right in saying, like, this was the David Finlay we needed right from the very beginning of the G1, and we were only just getting it now. And I feel like there was a small amount of sort of like despotism that brought a lot of focus to David Finlay in that match for him to actually stay determined and to pick up that win. So he really saved himself there, and I think that's one of the matches that really stood out for me.
Yeah, without a doubt. August 12th, August 5th, sorry, night 12. I'll get it right. B block, the first G1 match of the night was arguably main event worthy. Takahashi took on Yoshihashi. To no one's surprise, they put on a hell of a battle. And the Raging Fire got the job done for Takeshita, who just reached double digits. Our hero, of course, Greater Khan was attacked by Ren Narita during his entrance, so it's the nonsense Ren today. Shenanigans came from House Torture and Whiskey, a low blow, a double cross. Couldn't beat Khan, but Ren managed to get the submission win. And another thing that annoys me, though, even though ELP was technically out, he still fought for an important thing: pride. Driller started fast, BLP put away with a Thunder Kiss 86, and it's just like, God damn, why do they do it? You're out. Why fuck up Driller for? But I suppose it's there for a reason. And then the main event, Shingo versus Zack Sabre Jr. These two know each other well and have gone to war before. There's another battle. The finish was excellent. Just as Shingo hit last of the Dragon, Zack managed to reverse the pin to win. It means Shingo is out, and we'll check the scores after the next night. And then backstage, Driller said he's a headbanger now. And Zack said he feels like all the bones have been shoved out of his arsehole, but he's still going to win and be the block leader. You're champions, ladies and gentlemen. Gina, what were your thoughts on night 12?
Yeah, I just had similar thoughts in terms of it being another great night of matches. I was really upset for Driller because again, he was one that I did not have my eye on in this tournament at all, and he just won me over from the second night, and I just thought he might actually really go far. So it was really gutting to see him sort of get this L here and get out the tournament, but still, I think they were all five matches were pretty much like main event worthy, because they just all went really hard. I also enjoyed Yoshihashi and Takeshita. I thought that was a great match. Again, I feel biased because of I feel like I did know Takeshita a lot more well than the other New Japan wrestlers, but still such a great match. And yeah, with Shingo and Zack, again, I didn't know who was going to get this win. I kind of assumed Zack still might pull the win here, but Shingo did it, So again, a night full of surprises for me.
Yeah, no, really good stuff. Night 13, August 7th, A block. And I told you there was something I didn't like about Callum Newman. He faced Tai Chi. Both men were on 3 and 4 records, so both needed a win to keep up with the pack on 8 points. And to add insult to injury, Callum beat Tai Chi and eliminated him. The fans weren't happy. Monty, I told you there was something about him. I just knew it, I suppose. God damn it.
Yeah. I told you from the beginning my investment in the Holy Emperor was going to get my heart broken. It's a shame that it had to be from Newman because, again, I think they obviously are invested in him, and so I don't want to not like him all like just based off that alone. But yeah, man, this was a tough one to swallow. But I already knew it. I kind of just had a feeling that unfortunately for Tachi, he was gonna fall short. I mean, they didn't even want my guy in the tournament. I honestly just hope that he performs so well that next year, no matter where he's placed on the card, that they understand that he deserves to at least be treated as one of the people who is deserving of being back in the G1 again. I think his performance this year was good enough, in my opinion. But we'll have to see how that goes. He didn't have a bad match to speak of, so I can't really be mad at the Holy Emperor because honestly, his entire career, he's always kind of been that guy who he was just right there, and they don't want to give it to Tachi. It's like I was hoping that this would be a good year for him because you had a guy like Goto who was in that similar spot. But maybe that's what happened. Maybe Tachi is just taking over the number one loser spot from Goto, just like the guy you want to see win, but he just can't get it done when it matters. But yeah, man, I don't know. The fans, like you said, were heartbroken because we all were on that bandwagon, especially the people who've been here from the early days of Tachi. So it was a tough one, but I'm not too mad at Newman because I do see I see the potential there. I see why they are seemingly invested in him. But like I said, people don't like Newman, and I think this is another reason why.
It doesn't help, does it? Tied at 8 points apiece. Evil faced Boatman Oleg. Of course, House of Torture shenanigans followed Dick Varley. And Evil could be the first three-man team to win the G1, as I mentioned. Oleg tried his best, but the numbers were too much, and the House of Torture leader moved to 10 points. God damn it. Up next for Sonada, Jaxie, I've just put an understated yellow and black jumpsuit. Again, bit disappointing.
Yeah, I actually put Sonada cosplayed as Naomi with the caution tape.
Oh, I like that. That's better. That's a better one.
Mm-hmm.
Take that one. Tanahashi looked like he had wrestled a heavy schedule. He lost balance on the ropes. Sanada, to his credit, tried to save it and then struck with a guitar shot to the head of Tanahashi, but the ace wasn't done yet. He rolled Sanada up in a flash for a surprise and a vital 2 points, kicking Sanada out of the tournament. In the main event, Yuri Uemura and Rhea Oiwa collided for control of the 10-point mark, a match that we'll see many times in the future. What happened in the match? Stories of both their careers now. Oiwa impressed, but Uemura just had a little bit more right now, getting the win with the deadbolt suplex. In the main event, Yotsuji looked to book his place in the next round, whereas Finlay was still fighting for his life. A great match, and I don't think I've cared this much about what Finlay is doing for a very long time. Finlay scouted Suji perfectly. The Bullet Club leader got the win and stayed alive in the G1, and even more incredibly, has a chance at progression on the very last night. And Gina, this is what the G1's all about. You know, I could give a fuck about Finlay, but I was like, go on, Finn, you can do this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think I've ever been on David Finlay's side when it comes to a New Japan event, and I found myself oddly on his side here. I was like, come on, you've got this. It's not even because the thing is, I actually, out of the two, prefer Yota Tsuji. I really like Tsuji. But I didn't want this to be the end of David Finlay, and I was like, where did that come from? You know? But I suppose that's what this tournament does to you. You end up kind of like, you know, sympathizing with wrestlers that you didn't really feel like you would sympathize with. So
No,
I suppose
without
that's
doubt.
an interesting fact.
Yeah, and backstage, Uemura said his style is the future of New Japan, which is an interesting comment. The scores after tonight's A block action, Sanada and Taichi are officially eliminated for this year's tournament. Meanwhile, Yuri Uemura and Evil now lead the block with 10 points. The rest of the field sits just 2 points behind at 8, with a fighting chance still left heading into the last night of A block competition. Before we get there, Monty, what were your thoughts on night 13?
Yeah, man, it was great. Like I said, it had a little bit of everything. It had the drama because we are counting the shows down and getting to the crunch time of where every match really matters. So you got that element of it, and then I do think, like you said, having Finley basically in the position that he's in, trying to get himself, back in basically in to give himself a chance to win this whole thing, which is amazing in itself. Like you said, some of the best storytelling that the G1 really can do for a guy. And like you said, it really doesn't matter. A lot of times, it doesn't even matter, like you said, if you really were invested in the person. If the turn, that's what I think makes the G1 so special and unique, because depending on how their tournament run goes, you find yourself more invested in them almost by default because you're invested in the tournament itself. So, and then of course the match was really good, but I thought Moore and Orr were, their technical expertise on display. It almost felt like the match didn't belong in this era the way they were wrestling. It was such a really well done, just technical wrestling match. And I think, again, this is one of those situations where I was like, I coming into this tournament, I knew Shota would be one of those Wrestle Kingdom main event guys. He's already done that achievement, but like I see him being in many of them, no matter whether the people want him there or like him there or not. I just think he definitely is going to be there. Suji is another guy who's definitely going to be there. But like you can't look at this tournament and not say you're more won't be a main event guy. And I thought Orwell matching his energy here showed that he can be in that top echelon too one day too. So like again, matches like this really make you excited for who these guys can become. And I think that's that's really the best optimistic thing I can take away from a lot of these newer generation matches, because like I said earlier, New Japan desperately needs guys like that to step up.
Yeah, without doubt. It's weird, you talk about legends in like Tanahashi's last one, but you can see glimpses of the future with certain matches, especially like you said, Oiwa and Uemura. You're going, this is going to be, but again, that's the issue. Maybe in a few years' time, who knows. So again, we shall see what happens when it comes to it. Let's get on with night 14 and August 8th. And Yoshihashi was fighting for his G1 life. ELP already eliminated, played spoiler, getting the win with a Thunder Kiss 86. Hashi started so hot, but burned out. Jaxie, we don't like to see it. He was representing, Gotu, he was representing Bishamon, and it just
it
too
was
much.
that was a bit of a shame. Again, I think I think it's more of a shame, not because of ELP isn't just as loved, because I think that ELP is great, but as you rightly pointed out earlier, I think against Driller Maloney, because he's already eliminated, I think this hurt a little bit more, because Yoshihashi was taken out by this. So it was a bit of an upset, because I felt like overall Yoshihashi was one of the ones up to this point who had been quite consistent with the
Yeah.
matches. So this came across bitter for that reason alone, not because ELP isn't just as loved.
Yeah, no, without that. And I think Tai Chi and Yoshihashi were kind of two guys, like I said, were looking at and going, I would want them to do really well.
Yeah,
And again, it's a shame it burnt out before we kind of got to that last stage. But I mean, I suppose he
exactly.
did well enough.
I mean, again, hey, there's next year, but like again, already by putting on such a great performance, I can only imagine the next year, he'll do even better.
Yeah, well, as a football fan, there is always next year. Great, I can't move to 8 with Gabe out of action. Of course, everyone got points when Gabe forfeited. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it happened. Another man on 8 points was Driller Maloney. He took on Zack Sabre Jr., despite losing at the start, a gained momentum and could go top of the block. And Maloney went for a gore, but Sabre Jr. expertly countered it into an armbar, forcing a submission and walking away with 2 more points. The champion is on 12. But, I mean, Gene, we mentioned it earlier. Again, Zack Sabre Jr. This is another first ever one-on-one meeting between him and Driller Maloney. And they're both English, man. England's not that big, is it? Come on.
No, I know. This again was another shocker for me, because it was like, isn't Driller English as well? So yeah, for me that was quite shocking to know they've both been in New Japan for, quite a while now, and this is their first meeting. Interesting.
I know. It's crazy what they can throw up here. Unfortunately for us, Ren Narita had a chance to move to 12 points. He faced Shingo, who was already out, and we got so much House to Torture nonsense. Young Lion, the guy, once again came to Shingo's rescue. The intervention allowed Shingo to finally connect with a pumping bomber and last with the dragon for the win. And again, sometimes you don't want to see a young lion come out and go, yay, but it helped for Shingo. And he's on 8. Ren was still on 10. And Takeshita was the only other man on 10 points and could book his playoff place. Sho Umino was desperate to join Ren and Takeshita on 10, but it's no easy feat in a war of attrition. Umino dug deep. After missing once, he finally connected with the second chapter, scoring a vital win and earning 2 crucial points. And again, Monty, this is when it kind of starts getting really, really important. And it's even a battle, for more than just points, for pride, for everything like that. And Umino desperately needed that victory.
Yeah, and I think much like his performance against Zach, I think he did a good job of showcasing a little bit of what made people realize or see him as special coming into his career. And I think these are the moments that he needs to have. And again, I know a lot of people because what I remember thinking about when I was watching this or watching the reaction to this was like a lot of people giving more credit to kind of like how Takeshita just can't put on a bad match. And I
Hmm.
don't disagree there, but I do think to a degree it's like you can be a great wrestler and you cannot put like we understand you are a great wrestler, but it's not just like one sided. Like the guy has to bring it, especially for everyone to really believe in the arena. Shota has to bring it too, and I think he did that. And I think Takeshita in a sense gained a little bit of respect for Shogun Umino, which is basically kind of like a great way to kind of express that, okay, as fans, maybe you should look at Shogun as more of a threat because of what he was able to do to a guy. I mean, he's literally the alpha. So, like, if you really think Takeshita is one of the best in the world, and we know he easily is, Schultz's performance here, in my opinion, definitely did him wonders. And then it was just a big match. They both needed the point. So, like you guys have mentioned, we've seen guys who are fighting for pride spoiled, but like that's kind of another G1 for classic trope of just like if you're not if you're not involved in the match, if you're not involved in like possibly winning, you can take great fun in ruining somebody else's G1,
Mm.
and that can set up feuds down the line. They can set up the next thing you're going to be doing after the tournament. So that's the thing I always loved about the G1 is that it's very very layered what they're trying to do. It's not just all right, we're just trying to get the winner over. No, we might be trying to advance another storyline. We might be trying to do this and do that. We might be trying to set things up. So, that's what I thought a lot of that was. But I think this one really, in my opinion, did a great job of showcasing shoulder, but at the same time, keeping everybody knowing, like, oh my God, okay, we know the Alpha is good. We've seen his performance in this G1, but Shota is not a slouch either. He's not giving up his spot just because we know that the other guy is great.
Yeah, without a doubt. So at the moment, Zack Sabre Jr. sits atop B block with 12 points and has advanced out of the block. Ren Narita, Shoot Umino, and Takeshita trail close behind with 10 points and control their destinies the last night of league action. The rest of the field is fighting to stay alive with a mid pack elimination of Yoshihashi. Backstage comments Zack said, one day, uh, all of you will surpass me. That day is inevitable, but it's not now. But I'm looking forward to that day. We'll have a rematch soon. Want a beer? He said to Driller. Driller said, yeah, go take a shower and we'll have a drink. Shingo's going to wet his whistle as well. It's a nice touch. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on night 14?
Yeah, I mean, again, this really just showcased so many great matches. It was kind of great to see someone like Shingo be able to hold his own when having constant interruptions throughout his match as well. And I just thought it ended, again, quite well.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we move on to night 15, August 10th, last A block action. And we're here already. This year's G1 has flown by. The first league match for the night saw Bolton Oleg fighting for survival against the already eliminated Tai Chi. The ever impressive Bolton got to 10 points, getting the win with the Karma, Kazi, and Gina. I know we don't mention Bolton Oleg a lot, but he's going about his business. And I think about him how I do like. Do you know what I mean? He's big, he's powerful, he can do shit.
Yeah, definitely. I know this sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually not. But like Bolton is one that I haven't noticed, but every time he comes out and has a match, I notice and remember him, and then he goes off again, and then I don't really think about it. But then he comes out and he has a great match again, and I'm like, shit, I feel like I need to watch this guy a lot more. So he was definitely one of those ones that I'm not very familiar with, but thanks to watching this G1 tournament in particular, I feel I've grown to know him a bit more as a wrestler. And I wasn't disappointed in like his entire performance throughout the whole tournament because I think he looked really, really strong.
Yeah, really, really good. Up next, Jaxie, I want to say penis-shaped sunglasses for Sanada. Unless it's an ink block and you just say what you see. I don't know.
Honestly, I just wrote that he looked like a twat in this one.
I saw penises. You know, and he, he had a leather jacket. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, getting serious. Bolton's victory essentially eliminated Oiwa, but he fought for the barest of percentages against Sonada. But it was the old guitar shot to the face, got the win for Sonada. Both finish on 8, and that result put Callum Newman out of mathematical running, even thankfully, but still with a lot of pride to fight in the face of Yota Tsuji. A spinning 70 cross would keep Tsuji alive and eliminate Bolton to boot due to the head-to-head. Head-to-head gets a bit confusing. 4 men were still in the hunt for 3 spots in the semi-main event for Evil, as supposed would be Hiroshi Tanahashi's last ever G1 match. And the King of Darkness had promised to fight fair, Monty. You know, and if Evil's going to say he's going to fight fair, I suppose he will, until Dick Togo and Don Farley made their presence known. But Evil rejected the chair slid in the ring. Still, he accepted the powder slid in, as well as the true nature was inevitably felt. The grenade, and then Evil ended Tanahashi's G1 Climax career. What a way to go, eh, Monty?
People were mad at that. Like I can't believe so many people actually thought that he was going. I saw it's literal people. I'm like, are we watching the same product? Why the hell did you believe evil? Like seriously, what inkling of anything did he ever given you guys to believe that he cared about respecting Tanahashi enough to not screw him? Like a lot of people really was kind of disappointed. And I'm just like, do we not watch the same product? Like what's going on? Like it's evil. Like this is what he does. But I got a kick out of it. Again, it wasn't the greatest thing, but I do think from a storytelling standpoint, you can't get much better than that. Because how many times do you see a match that's like so important for one person and or have so much meaning because it's like I just mentioned earlier, greatest G1 performer ever, or at least one of them, if not the greatest last G1 match, and then he's fighting somebody like Evil. And it's just like it's the perfect fall for Tanahashi, but it's one of those situations where it's like, you know what, we might get that old Evil because I know a lot of old. If you watch New Japan a long time, you know Evil used to like. I'll never forget Evil versus Okada, one of his upsets back in the when he was in a tag team with Sonata, and how he beat Okada's ass that day. It was one of the best performances him and Okada had that I had seen, and I was like, oh, Evil has potential to be one of the greatest performers. And he went the complete opposite of that. And it's just like, just shitting on all of that potential and just like, who cares what I could do as far as the type of matches. Let's just cheat and let's just have fun and let's win. And I think it's just funny that a guy like Tanahashi, you would think the respect would get that guy back. And it's just like, nope, still evil here. I'm sorry, guys.
Crazy. It's horrible. Evil finished his Tanahashi's G1 career, but hey, that secured spots for Tsuji and Evil, putting all the pressure on the winner of either David Finlay or Uemura in the main event. And let's not forget, Finn was 1 and 4, and capturing Rebel Uemura went for the kill. Finlay landed clobbering lariats to try and escape the deadbolt, and after a pair of overkills, it was over. The heat storm had been put out. Evil advanced to the semis with his first place bye in the A block. Finlay finishes second. It will meet the third place finisher in B block, and Tsuji on the second place finisher in B block. Both matches happening on August 14th. But Jackson, it was a bit of a shame for Yuri Uemura again. He showed something different in this G1, and it's a shame the heat storm was put out.
Yeah, I mean, he showed like a really strong start to the G1, and I think he's definitely left a mark that will make, others take him a lot more seriously going forward within his career. I think he made great progress, but overall, is especially with so many sort of big names still sort of like within sort of that finals, that quarterfinals, you kind of felt like maybe this year wasn't his year,
Yeah, without a doubt. Backstage comments Tai Chi, and he said he's lose his dream. He said if might finish last, but he's proud. Bless his heart. Oiwa was annoyed. Newman said he's better than Ospreay. All right, mate. Tsuji said he lost 3 in a row. Not that anyone remotely thought he wouldn't make it. A very emotional Tanahashi. He disappointed it ended like that. And Finlay did tell us so. He said he's Uemura's roadblock, and Yura is devastated, and rightfully so. Finn finished in saying, hate finds a way, and so does he. I might get that tattooed on me. Gina, night 15 thoughts, please.
I mean, yeah, just wow with this night. Again, I think Monty mentioned earlier that regardless as to even how it's setting the stones for, the winner of the G1, but it also is setting stones for, future feuds and stuff like that. And I just feel like this was coming out more and more within this night. And again, the Tanahashi match was quite a big match to watch. If anything, go back to watch this match on this match card, because for me that was the one that stood out.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right, so it's time to finish B block. Night 16, August 13th. I didn't do this for A block as my head might have exploded, but there was kind of talk about the ways for people still to qualify. Zack Sabre Jr. is already guaranteed to go to the playoffs. Takeshita was in. If he wins or if he draws, Inumino and Akan don't draw. If he loses, Maloney and Shingo draw and Akan wins. If he loses, Maloney and Shingo don't draw and Akan wins. Randy Narita's in. If he wins, if he draws, Inumino and Akan draw. If he draws, Inumino can't. I'm going to leave it there, but that's why I've not done that, you see, because again, Monty, when it comes to the G1, you can get a bit lost in it all, can't you? You know, the permutation, so to speak.
Longtime fans start G1 spreadsheets to keep up. So I think that should just let you know everything you need to know. That's part of the fun, getting lost and just having to rely either on commentary or just somebody on Twitter or whatever you do to rely on people to catch you up or let you at least figure out where the hell certain people are or what's all of the scenarios and possible outcomes. But in my opinion, usually those are the most exciting G1s because it's not really set in stone what we have going on, like who you should be looking forward to and possibly ending up in the final or playoffs. So like, yeah, I think at the end of the day, that confusion is legitimate confusion, but I think it's like that's part of the G1 fun at this point because, like I said, some people just come into it prepared to be like, okay, this guy lost to that guy lost to this person, what? Okay, if this person beat this guy, but that person, oh, this might be a tie. What if they draw? What if this happens? So like, it really turns into that type of thing, and I just think that once again, that's another thing that makes it nothing. Like that's the reason why I say it's nothing like the G1 truly because of things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it might seem like I know exactly what's going on, but there was a few times I messaged Monty go, when the fuck did Gabe's points get added? And what the fuck is this? And so, we've all worked together to get this. But like I said, we're nearly there. The first match of the night was Shingo versus Driller. Maloney set Shingo for the Driller Killer, but will instead be met with a Pumpkin Bomber for 2. Last the Dragon followed to give Shingo one last victory and a slender chance to make the playoffs. But Yoshihashi has effectively been eliminated by the time his last league match came around with Zack Sabre Jr. Still fighting for his career best G1 record and a considerable amount of pride. Zach Lowe's banished the early G1 Blues and ends on 14 points as a clear leader after winning with submission. And with Sabre's first place spot now guaranteed, Shoot Rumino headed to the ring with control of his destiny against Great O'Khan, whose best shot was a convoluted tie. O'Khan had control for the majority, but the second chapter from Umino got the win to advance to the playoffs. Jackson, was that a surprise there to see Umino through? Because again, as we mentioned, he did main event the last Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. This match, it really went hard. I really couldn't see who was going to pick up the win here. And it did kind of come as a shocking win, just because from, the little time that I have been watching New Japan, Shota's always kind of fallen short a little bit, when it comes to this.
Yeah.
So I truly felt like we may see like a defeated feeling Shota going into this match and really not believing in himself to pick up the win, but he did the shocking thing of actually believing in himself and he pulled out the win. I thought this was a great match between both Okada and Shota.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that meant when Takeshita were battling in the main event for the final spot in the playoffs, with Evil only advanced out of A block, the House of Torture plan was clear from the entrances as Dick Togo, Don Farley, lent their services in attacking Takeshita and Rocky Romero. It was funny watching Takeshita wrestle a House of Torture match. As I mentioned, he can wrestle different styles. Ren, I feel, has gone under the radar and has proven he's in touch with the new generation. As Romero chased Togo to the back, the Young Lions teamed up to cart away Farley. Kanemaru showed up, but Whiskey missed, backfired. And after O'Connor roll, the chicken wing crossface proved tonight would belong to Takeshita. So Gina, Takeshita did it, and he had to overcome House of Torture nonsense as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad. Again, it made Takeshita look really strong. He was able to, withstand everything that was thrown at him. Ren's kind of been the same as Evil. They've both kind of lucked their way this far into the tournament. So it was either going to help him get this win over Takeshita, or it was going to really showcase how strong Takeshita is, that he could overcome all that thrown at him and still get the win over Ren here. So I was super happy to see that he did. Ren's just not deserving of it.
Yeah, no, you tried well, but yeah, like you said, I think the right person won. Scores ends that say with Junior's B block puts him into the semi-finals. It tops it, of course. He'll face the winner of Finley versus Takeshita, who meet in playoff action. The other playoff match will be Yotsuji versus Umino, with the winner taking on Evil. Backstage comments: Driller was glad it was over. He said there's no shame in losing to the Dragon. Shingo said he would always give it his all. It's not over till it's over. And he calls out Gabe and is happy to fight Driller again, which is nice to see. Yoshihashi says a loss is a loss, but it's not going to be done like this. If Goto can do it, so can he. And Zach's so good he could bring back Top of the Pops. He's not lost in 7 matches, and these little cunts are a long way off. Our hero is devastated. Great Khan says the high road is still to come. Umino said Okan, what he did was to hurt him, and he make sure he was going through to the playoffs regardless. And Takeshita said he fit to this point last year, and people don't respect him. He says, you want to be strong, then follow him. Interesting comments there as we end the B block. So, Monty, what were your thoughts on night 16?
I mean, honestly, it was just like it was some top notch stuff, even with the people who weren't really in the conversation anymore. Like you said, like with Shingo bringing it, even though he had a sliver of a chance, he really brought it still as if he was, with at Zach's point total. And I think for him to end up at 10 with his performance it's not as exactly where Finley ended up, but it is still impressive because he started off slow. Zach again proving that he is the best in the world, looking like the best in the world. Again with Yoshihashi, who again, even with 8 points and even falling short of probably his goal, I love just hearing him talk about it because it kind of explained what I meant about Tai Chi and Goto in a sense of how watching Goto do what he had failed to do so many times, I could only give them whether it's real life motivation or is it just them understanding well where their characters are in their careers. I just love that element because again, these are guys I watched only improve as they gotten older, and then, like I said, not necessarily get the same opportunities that other greats have gotten. Like I mentioned, Tachi was in Naito and Okada's class with those guys, and they kind of just took off like rockets and left Tachi in a spot. And I think Yoshihashi, as like I said, always being that the friend of Okada, was also left behind. So you can't help but just root for them to keep growing, and even in their well into their 40s, to watch them perform like they were one of the young guys. That was my favorite element of the tournament. Takeshita's rise and just him getting the win over Ren Narita here, even though to me it may not seem like an upset because of how we all view Takeshita and how we look at him, it really is still an upset. Like he's not wrong about the lack of respect, and like I think he felt what a lot of the homegrown, Japanese fans, were kind of putting out there towards him. It was a lack of respect, and they didn't think that he necessarily belonged, even over a guy as young as Ren Narita. It was definitely whispers of like, he's gonna fall flat because that's just what a lot of New Japan fans are used to from people in Takeshita's position. So like, they can perform well, they can have good point totals, but if you're part time, usually you fall short here. So I think this was a great win for him just for that element alone, and also a great win for Shota Umino to get himself across that threshold too, because like you mentioned, like was mentioned earlier, he has had his own ups and downs, his own struggles with getting himself where a lot of people see him having the potential being. And even though there were some people out there who felt like his inclusion over seeing you, I know it's not really the same situation or block, but you seeing you more fall short, and then watching Umino still get that berth kind of aggravated people because you were more performance in this tournament, in my opinion, was probably the best next to a Takeshita. So you got those elements, but that's always arguable. I think Shelton was always going to be here.
Yeah, without doubt. So the question is then, who do we pick for the playoffs? Because we did predictions. So my picks for top three A block was Suji, Evil, and Finley. And for the B block was Gabe, Zach, and Takeshita. Jaxie picked Suji, Evil, and Yuri Uemura. And the B block was Takeshita, Zack Sabre Jr., Shooter Umino. Monty, his top three was Suji, Uemura, and Tai Chi, or Evil, who has half the roster on his side, as he said, and Dave Finley. B block, Shingo, Zach, and Shooter. And Gina picked from A block, Suji, Finley, Tai Chi. B block, Zack Sabre Jr., Ren Narita, and Yoshi Hashi. So as we get to night 17, August 14th, the playoffs, the actual top three was Evil, Finley, and Suji. And top three for the B block was Zach, Umino, and Takeshita. So it meant Gina and Monty, you both got 3 out of 6. Now, Gina, I don't think that's too bad considering you're not a consistent watcher of New Japan. So I think well done for you there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good for me to even have 3. I kind of expected to not really get any. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and Monty, 3 out of 6 for you. You're the demigod, man.
Hey man, I was having fun.
I just, maybe New Japan's not important
With
to you,
your
but
AEW and WWE scores, I don't really need to hear that
hey,
from
we're
you.
doing New Japan. We're doing New
You
Japan,
give me a
dude.
hard time.
All
Let
right, we're
Jackson
doing
give me
New
a
Japan.
hard
Let's
time.
talk about that.
I respect her.
Well, Jaxie got 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 for the semi-finals, Jack. So well
Exactly.
done there.
Well, I was strategic,
And it's really good to get 5 out of 6, isn't it? I think we'd all agree. Like, to get 5 out of 6 is great.
Why are you giving me so many compliments? Who are you?
Oh no, I got 5 out of 6 as well. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry. Oh, I did as well.
God. Okay, so you got to rain on my parade. That was the only reason, so you could go, oh, by the way, but you weren't alone. All right, fuck you.
No, yes, exactly why I did it. Yeah, exactly why I did it.
It's
Anyway.
okay, guys. He got 0 in one of the leagues, or just barely got his first win. He
Yeah,
needs
but
this. He needs this.
New Japan, I am God. I'm not going to let it get to me. All right.
No,
For a chance to beat Zack in the semis, Takeshita took on David Finlay. Finn had a chance to win the New Japan Cup and G1 back to back, and Takeshita had a chance to show the world no matter what organization he wrestled for, he is the true alpha. Tables were set up at ringside, and Finn powerbombed Takeshita through hell. Like Monty said, there are no disqualifications in New Japan. It's like ECW. The Bullet Club leader controlled the action. Takeshita kicked out a 1 when Finn hit overkill. Dave was frustrated, couldn't seem to put away Takeshita, and Takeshita used his raging fire to book his place in the semi-finals. My man. Gina, what did you think of that? Because Finlay worked hard, but my God, Takeshita wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, honestly, he wasn't. Again, Takeshita's been showcased very well throughout this tournament to look very, Hulk-like in a way, very beast-like. And I definitely think that he just showcased that here. It was just such a great match, and there's another one that I would say out of all the matches to check out to go and see.
Yeah, it is without a doubt. That was the B block playoff. Now time for the A block playoff. Yotsuji versus Shota Umino with Evil awaiting the winner. And it's crazy to think how into Umino I was, but I completely understand the feeling. He hasn't found himself yet. He has changed since I was introduced to him. Unlike Suji, who just needs experience and wins. He, of course, lost last year's G1 final to Zach. Umino lost in the Wrestle Kingdom main event and the New Japan Cup final. So who would be the breakout star now? Well, after a slow start, me get distracted by Suji's pants. A really good match took place in the main event. Suji unleashed disgusting chops on Umino. Red Shoes, his dad, could do nothing, but a bad knee nearly came back to haunt Yota. With both men covered in sweat, Umino went for the kill, but Suji kept bouncing up. And Gene Blaster couldn't get the job done. A reverse brainbuster off the top, followed by another Gene Blaster, and Suji had a date with destiny. Like I said, really, really good stuff. Gino, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? We talk about again Umino and Suji, and they gave everything in this matchup.
They did give everything in this matchup, and at this point, I didn't know who I was rooting for because, again, I felt quite biased. Suji was one of the first kind of few guys that like stood out to me, so I was definitely rooting for him. But Shota Umino has really kind of showcased a bit of a comeback in my eyes, from the last time I kind of saw him. So it was kind of like I wanted them both to get the win here. Yeah, it was just a great match, really good.
Really was. Backstage comments, Finley admits he's paranoid that War Dogs might jump him because he's failing in big matches. He says change has to happen, but he doesn't know what it is yet, but it has to happen. He says he'll think he'll do anything it takes to keep War Dogs together and strong. I mean, Monty, paranoid much? Do you know what I mean? Is it that bad? I know Bullet Club's got a history, but my God, come on. Finn should be all right, shouldn't he?
You asked me that. You sure you know that Bullet Club got literally all of them got turned on, and Finley is the only one to have not been a world champion. Think about that's. I think that's more so of the paranoia too. Like he has not been the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion as Bullet Club leader, and Jay White did it, Kenny did it, AJ Styles did it. Prince Balor didn't do it, but he was a junior heavyweight world champion before he left for WWE. So like he started it. He literally started the club. So you can't beat that. So it's like Prince, I said Prince Balor, Prince David, or Finn Balor, if you guys don't know. But yeah, so he literally started the club, so you can't really beat that either. So it's like, all right, you got world champions, you got literally one of the greatest of all time, AJ Styles. You have Kenny Omega, who's been like he's a belt collector. Like we all know that he's also one of the greatest of all time, pretty much at this point, if you really think about his career. And then you have Jay White, who, barring some injuries, who could be on a trajectory to also be one of the greatest of all time. And he also had a great foreigner run on top of New Japan. And Dave Finley has, like he said, failed in these big moments. Since taking over. So he has a right to be paranoid because all of those guys got beat and usurped, got beat down by their own club and usurped. So what's stopping Gato from choosing Driller or Gabe or anyone else when he's ready, or a newcomer when he's ready to take over, to have someone else lead the War Dogs because they think he's weak? He has a very valid thought process, and honestly, you tell me he won't get beat at this point because, I'm just saying, I've just broken down for you. I don't really. It's the most reasonable paranoia I can think of at this point.
Well, on to Takeshita, and he said he cried last year when he lost. But isn't a wrestler meant to get up? He thanked Finn, and Suji told Umino to keep the right path. He wants to do it again. If you can't believe in yourself, where can you find hope? But he doesn't trust Red Shoes. So predictions then for the semi-finals. I said it would be Suji versus Evil and Gabe versus Takeshita. Jaxie said Suji versus Evil and Takeshita versus Shooter. Monty didn't give semi-finals. That's how confident he was. Gina, semis was Suji, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., Rennery. Unfortunately, Gina, you didn't get one. But Jaxie, again, at least you got one semi-final right. That's good. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy at least picking up one win here.
Yeah. I mean, I did it as well, but it's not about we're working.
Oh my gosh,
together.
I did it first. You just copied my answers after I gave you mine.
Oh God! All right, let's get to it. Nights 18, August 16th, the semi-finals. It's the penultimate night, and semi-final was Yota Tsuji versus Evil. And in true House of Torture fashion, Evil wasted no time attacking before the bell even rang. Tsuji fired back, but his knee quickly became a target and appeared to give him trouble throughout the match. Disaster struck when a misfired Gene Blaster took out the referee, leaving Tsuji vulnerable to a 3-on-1 assault from Dick Togo and Don Farley. The odds were even as the unaffiliated members hit the ring to clear things out, restoring balance, but Tsuji connected with Lamalo crash, countered a reverse Evil, and even landed an alley oop. But when both men battled on the top rope, Farley came in and delivered a bad luck fall that apparently knocked Tsuji unconscious, making it a formality for Evil to lock in Darkness Scorpion for the stoppage win. I mean, wow, Jaxie. The way they sold this as well was like legit. You know what I mean? Like he was on his way to the hospital, done.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, I think it was difficult. It was a difficult one to watch because, you even had, I think it was Daiki Nagai and Shingo Takagi that accompanied Suji, and it was for this very reason, and yet they still weren't able to like kind of put a stop to what House of Torture were able to do. It really makes you feel like House of Torture as a stable are willing to do whatever it takes at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and again, is it a shoot? I mean, Monty, was it a shoot? Was it a work
I'm not
shoot?
too sure.
Did they called an audible, like, or did they just have to kind of stop a riot from taking place by pretending Suji was out? Because he did wrestle the next night, didn't he?
Yeah, he did wrestle. I mean, I did. It rumors that he was dealing with something, but it's the G1. Everybody hurt, so I don't really know how bad it was or if that had anything to do with the finish. I think they really just wanted to make him look strong. I know he was getting screwed, so you're like, oh, that's strong enough. But like, he screwed and he got knocked unconscious, so he literally couldn't like fight back at that point. And with Fale doing what he had to do, so man, this pissed off so many foreign New Japan fans, and I just saw so many think pieces and people just mad at Gato, and I was just sitting back getting a kick out of it because it's just I'm not saying he should have beat Suji because I said Suji was gonna be. I thought Suji was gonna actually do it
Mm.
all, win it all this year. So like I'm not saying that, but I just think the fact that people can watch somebody go through what Suji went through and still be like, no, this BS. Like dude, like what more of a definitive finish than that can you ask for? Even if it is a bunch of screwy stuff, but it is what it is. Again, I'm a evil stand. I'm the problem according to my New Japan group chat. I am the problem. But like I tell them, I'm not paying for the ticket. So same way y'all ain't. So you can leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Is there a big
Like,
is there a big difference though with Evil with the reaction, like you said, in Japan compared to like you said
they love him.
maybe foreign people who watch it?
They love him. He's beloved for the most part
Really?
in Japan. There's a couple of people who treat it like it's supposed to be treated. They still boo him and all of that the way you're supposed to because it's distasteful the things he's doing. He's spitting on the tradition, but that ain't stopping people. All of those people that even the people you see screaming at Evil from buying House of Torture merch and coming to see when Evil is in the marquee spot. So it's like, do you really hate them or do you just love to hate them? And I think that's where the Eastern or where the homegrown fans are. They love to hate evil at this point because at the end of the day, he's their evil. And I think a lot of foreign fans who've been watching for a long time, who come accustomed to a certain style of New Japan, they don't like that style being in their product, and it's just like, but the people who are paying for the tickets do is my
Yeah.
perspective, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, they're gonna always choose them over you guys. I don't care how much New Japan World charges more.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, in the main event, the highly anticipated clash between Zack Sabre Jr. and Kanesa Takeshita opened with a masterclass in technical wrestling, ending in a dead even stalemate. As we got deep into it, both men dug into their last reserves, trading blows while barely upright. Takeshita landed a pinpoint elbow to the sky, then dragged Zack to the top rope. Champion tried to catch the arm mid-climb, but Takeshita broke free and delivered a breathtaking top rope raging fire. He followed up with a crushing power drive and then one more decisive rage of fire to finally put Zack Sabre Jr. down and punch his tickets to the final. I mean, Gina, I know we like Takeshita, but wow, man, like especially against a champion. Let's not forget Zack is the IWGP champion.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I can't do this match justice. It was just a really good match, and it was just difficult to know who was going to become the winner of this match. It truly was. I couldn't call it. There were so many near falls. Yeah. Again, I think I definitely felt like I was enjoying watching Zach and seeing the different ways that he was able to get wins over other people, and I was interested to see if he was going to be able to do that with Takeshita.
Mm. Yeah, but again, it's two of the best right now going at it. And after Evil, this was a very welcome change. And Monty, I told you Takeshita would beat Zack, and you laughed at me, didn't you? You remember that?
He wasn't supposed to. Like, what do you offer me? He wasn't supposed to. Like, it's simple as that. I don't know what else to tell you.
You were like, fuck you ain't fucking right. And look who's laughing now, eh? Well, I'm not laughing, but still. There was a scary moment off the top that looked worse than the Suji bump, actually, where I thought both were in trouble. Backstage comments, Zach congratulates Takeshita. Evil is happy he beat last year's winner. And speaking of it, we're going to find out who the G1 Climax 35 winner will be. Night 19, August 17th, the final. The 2024-2025 G1 Climax marked the first time in history that consecutive G1 Climax final matches feature two first-time finalists. Prior to 2024, the last time the tournament final featured two first-time finalists was 2012 when Okada defeated Carl Anderson, which, again, is quite incredible. That's showing the change in New Japan to have this going on. Not only that, but Takeshita is 26 minutes away from history. If the final was to last longer than that, he would hold the record for longest total match time in a single G1 tournament. My God. In the undercard, Callum Newman was calling himself the Prince. Where have we heard that before? I wonder. And Tanahashi and Great Khan sat on each other as well. That was fun. Finley added the Knockout Brothers to the group. Jackson, what are your thoughts on the Knockout Brothers? Yoho Nakajima and Oscar Lubu. They attacked Taichi and called out Ishii, and they're going to go after the IWGP Tag Team Championships.
Sorry, who were they?
It was the I don't know if you saw it with the tag team match. The Knockout Brothers, the Oscar, the huge German guy. Did you see him?
Yeah, yes. I just never. I don't think I've ever seen them before then, though. So
No, they just came back. They just come back. Literally made their return.
So for me, I just didn't really know how well we're supposed to consider them a formidable group. So, I mean, it was a shock to see someone that I wasn't expecting sort of like get involved in this and be like we're coming for those titles and stuff. But I also was not like overly excited to see what was going to happen with these two, because I was like, wait, who are these guys? I was more confused.
Yeah,
But
no,
then that's just
doubt.
from me not watching and keeping up to date with the tag division as much as I'd like to.
Oh no, literally, it was their debut. Like, they showed that this was Finley. We talk about Finley struggling. He wanted to change the War Dogs. He brought these two guys in after their excursion.
Right.
To kind
Okay.
of
Where were they like tagging before, like on the Indies? Do we know?
No, they were Young Lions. They was in Rare. They went on excursion. I think they spent a little time in Rare Pro and somewhere else. But
Right.
they were Young Lions. That's Nakanishi. He just looked different because he dyed his hair, which is what the Japanese tend to do when they get a gimmick. So he got white hair now.
It is interesting, just
and Big Oscar just as big. He just got hair. He got hair in general now. I think he just had a clean shaven when he was a young lion.
It's interesting that David Finley's brought them in, because as Monty brought up earlier, he's currently paranoid, and I feel like not only has he potentially brought these two in to bring and add more strength to the War Dogs, but also maybe in terms of a little bit more additional protection for himself, with a potential turn from some of the others. So who knows? It's going to be interesting to see like how they all get on as a stable from here on.
No, exactly, and especially this is the interesting thing with talk about Gabe kind of not being there at this moment in time. Does he know kind of about the moves going on? And Shingo is not happy that Gabe Kidd's not there. He said if Kidd can make the Forbidden Door, he can defend his title. And Gina, he did come up with a good idea. He said, give Driller the title and let him defend it. I'm up for it.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. And like we talk about, Suji did wrestle, so it wasn't a concussion, and Evil was always the plan, because they were saying like, oh, maybe they changed the plan. No, Evil was always going to be in the final. So the G1 Climax final, it will either be an outsider who probably won't be on the next tour for Takeshita versus Evil. And as many people said, including Gabe, the fact that Evil is in the final of the greatest professional wrestling tournament in the world is a fucking embarrassment. So some people won't be happy about this either way. But with House of Torture members looming at ringside, The final began in surprisingly clean fashion, with both men exchanging chain wrestling holds. It wasn't long before the trademark House of Torture chaos erupted, with the trophy stolen on the outside. Takeshita endured punishment from the group, while inside the ring, Evil ground him down with submission holds, mocking the crowd with arrogant poses. Every time Takeshita seemed close to victory, new interference came. When another House Torture member rushed in, Zack Sabre Jr. made the save, restoring order and leaving the finalists to settle in themselves. Takeshita connected with the, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that driver, only to be floored by a lariat. The House of Torture leader followed by Superplex, an attempted Darkness Scorpion and Darkness Falls, but the Alpha refused to stay down. Takeshi's knee gave out, disaster struck. The referee went down, opened the door for Evil's low blow and lariat. Still, Takeshi endured, powered Evil up for a last ride, and unleashed straight murder. Finally, after landing the raging final, the Alpha put Evil down for the 3 count, winning the G1 Climax 35. Wow, and brief. Monty, what did you think of that? Takeshita is your G1 winner. I think Monty's so emotional.
Oh, I'm talking on mute. That's all. I'm not emotional. All I said was that to all the people who were telling me you can't do the House of Torture formula and make it a great G1 main event. What was that? What was that not? Did you not still have shenanigans and still get the cathartic, you know, all the pomp and circumstance that we're used to from a G1 Climax final? Was it the greatest match? Was it like Osprey and Naito, or not? I mean Okada and Naito from years past, or some of the other greats like that we've seen over the time, like from a pure wrestling standpoint? Maybe not, but I think for what it was, and this is the reason why I say when you get Evil, you really get it. Like you said, James, Evil is growing on you because of his commitment. Well, Takeshita literally said Evil is one of his favorite opponents ever after this because of that same thing. He's like the same way he wants to spread wrestling around the world and wrestle in that style, that high impact physical style that he wrestles. The dedication to that is the same way Evil is dedicated to doing professional wrestling his way. And again, I understand how mixed how that provides a mixed point of view sometimes because it is different from what again New Japan has become known for. But I do think it is a place for that style, and this type of match showcased it. I mean, I think Zack Sabre Jr. is an idiot for helping, but still he helped. He talked about wrestlers being dumb, and he really was a dumb guy for me. But I get it. It's like that pride, like you said, it'd be an embarrassment if Evil was there. So maybe that's what it is. It's like, no, I want another shot at Takeshita. Slash, I don't want this guy to sully the G1 by winning and being in this spot with a lot of the stuff he does. And I get that, but I do think that's what makes this so interesting. And like I do think I sat back and I just watched people complain about the prospect of this match, but then I watched some of those same people have to be like, "Nah, that was a great match," and and most people were just mad because they just felt like they knew where Gato or where the New Japan was going to take it, and that Takeshita would not win. And I thought that way too, mostly because of not only his part-time status, but it is far away from what you're used to from New Japan. Like you said, it's not even about just like the sanctity of New Japan wrestling. Evil is their guy, whether people want to like it or not. He's a day one New Japan dojo guy. And at the end of the day, no matter how good Takeshita is, he isn't. But Takeshita embodies what the G1 is all about, whether people like that or understand that or not. That's why at the end of the day, I was rooting for Evil very hard in this match. I was enjoying every bit of it, and I wanted Evil to win, mostly so I could see a lot of people's a lot of New Japan fans' head explode, or say that they're gonna stop watching and all of that. I couldn't wait for all of the people to do what they claimed they were going to do if he did win. But besides that element, I just was like also coming out of it and watching him win. I was like, and then the way Takeshita talk, that's another thing. It's not even really about so much of his part-time status because a lot of the stuff, even him being on the next tour, unfortunately, that's out of his control. I got more annoyance at someone like a Tony Khan or at some of the other things that he has to deal with, because I'm like, your partner in New Japan needs a guy like a Takeshi to be there full time. And it is not like I'm not saying I don't mind what he's been doing in AEW, but it's just like, is what he's doing in AEW so important to AEW compared to how important his presence will be for New Japan going forward? And I think that's kind of my only concern. But that ain't got nothing to do with Takeshi himself. Takeshi said he wants to spread pro wrestling his style of pro wrestling to as many avenues as he possibly can. And like, how can you complain when you know at the end of the day, when he's there, he's going to put on performances like this, and he's going to give New Japan some of the best wrestling in the world when he's there. My whole thing is that, is the relationship good enough for him to actually be there? Can I even entertain him actually walking away with the championship? That's going to be one of those things going forward we got to think about. But for this moment only, and watching the confetti rain on him and how much effort he put into this, I mean, how could you not be proud and just enjoy that finish? Because I thought it was just a great moment for a great wrestler.
Yeah, without doubt. And again, that's the thing in it. And Jax, it's when you see it with a wrestler like Takeshita, how big a moment this is. Like we talk about, only the 35 G1s. Not many people, are able to win it, and yet Takeshita is the guy to do it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the points that Monty brought up, I would have, kind of also brought up too. But I do think, just going on in terms of the match itself, like, it was just a very impressive win for Takeshita to pick up, considering all of the elements that were just against him, when it comes to sort of like how much help Evil really had. So it was impressive for him to pick up a win like this. But I also agree with a lot of Monty's statements regarding, like, I'm more like concerned and mad at the likes of like Tony, who right now can see like how prominent a win this is and how much New Japan really do need Takeshita to step up in order for us to truly believe that he could take that belt come January, and right now I don't know how much hope I hold out that like Tony would be like remotely happy kind of losing Takeshita full time to New Japan for like a long period of time going into 2026. Again, going back to what he's doing in AEW, I think he's doing great work, but I also don't think like it's substantial enough that means that he couldn't take a bit more time to be with New Japan right now, and just kind of be talked about by Don Callis a lot, and talking about his accomplishments at what he's doing over there. I think that would be more beneficial right now for New Japan with having him come out the G1 winner. Whether or not Tony would actually agree and allow sort of like a long sort of period of time away from AEW, I don't know. But yeah, like it's going to be a very confusing one going into sort of the new year on how to book this match, like from what I can tell at the moment, because
I think
I don't entirely know if Tony would be willing to kind of lose him for a while.
But I think that's the interesting thing. And again, we don't know the answers in Gina. Sometimes that can be quite exciting, especially as we head to Wrestle Kingdom in January. And I don't know if there's going to be another dynasty like there was kind of this year, but we're still not sure. You know what I mean? Like, will Takeshita do it? Will he actually beat Zack? Would it be at Wrestle Kingdom? Like, what's going to happen there? At least we've got something to look forward to now in the next couple of months, until the end of the year, so to speak.
Hello?
Is that Monty or
Yeah,
me?
that was you.
Oh,
That
sorry,
was you.
Jane, that was you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't realize you were asking me. What was it?
um, I actually can't remember now. To be fair, it's exciting as we head towards Wrestle Kingdom. Everything's up in the air. Do you know what I mean? Takesha's number one
Yeah.
contender. We don't know when he's going to face Zack.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be super exciting to go into that thinking about what's going to come out of it, especially because again they have sown some seeds with feuds that have been put in there. People are bitter about certain things as well, so it's going to be interesting to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, without doubt. Takeshita Cryan said he loves pro wrestling. We are all pro wrestling. He's on top of the world. Backstage comments: Khan nearly had a brain aneurysm. He said he wants Tanahashi one on one, and more important, Toyanu wants some of the president, which we'll get on the next tour as well. Get in there. So overall, then, as we look at this, I mean, predictions for the final. I went Gabe and Suji, and Gabe obviously got injured. There's a fucker with Suji to win. Jaxie put Suji to win for the finals. Suji Takeshita. Monty says finals will probably be Uemura versus Suji, but he loves Tai Chi. We know how much Monty loves Tai Chi. And Gina says Suji to win with semi-finals of Suji, Tai Chi, Zack Sabre Jr. and Ren Narita, with a final of Suji, Ren Narita. So points wise, because I know we didn't get the winner, but I think Jaxie, for our hard work for getting 5 out of 6 and at least one semi-final right, we'll give ourselves 1 bonus point each. I know it's not a lot, but we
I'll
don't
take
deserve
it.
any more.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so the WNR Prediction League, like we said, after Clash and the G1, it just means we're still tied on 15, 3 behind Monty on bonus league. But hey, what can you do? I did say Takeshita beat Zack Sabre Jr., so I'll take that. So overall thoughts then on the G1. We're gonna do, I think, match of the G1 and maybe overall rating as well. I think that would be fair to say. So Monty, seeing as you're the demigod, why don't you start us off with what you're going to rate this out of 10 and what was your match of the G1? Because it is quite difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just gonna go with you more and I think you more and Orwell, in my opinion, was just like so different from what I'm used to because I'm used to strong style, I'm used to mixing styles, but like they literally went out there for almost 20 minutes or so and just was like, we're gonna go out here and technical wrestle our ass off, and it was just so different from every other thing, and so like for overall, other than like Tachi and Yoshihashi, who definitely was my MVP, and of course Takeshita, like I got like I said, you were more to me, he outshined everybody. He had the best matches overall out of anybody in this tournament. Just if you just go up match by match and look at the quality that he put on, it was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I think the reason why I have to give him another shout out is because he went from a guy that I knew would be a part of the future to a guy that I think he can be one of them people leading the future. Next to the Schultzes and next to the Sujis, and I mean, hell, even if Takeshita sticks around, I think you more will be a guy who's gonna be right in that conversation with the top of the homegrown Japanese talent that they are building. And but overall, I think I'd probably give this one an 8.5. I mean, losing Gabe kind of made it suck. And then I do think I love the House of Torture style, but I'm not gonna act like I don't understand if some people was turned off by at least like every Ren Rita match, mostly all the Evil's matches. I can see how that can get to you. And then, like I said, I'm kind of saddened by this tournament in a sense too because I'm used to the Okadas, I'm used to the Naitos, I'm used to so many names, and of course with Goto being out, I missed him too. And then now this is Tanahashi being it. Tanahashi's last one. I still think it was a good tournament overall, and I do love Takeshita kind of like I said, spreading his type of pro wrestling to New Japan in this way. I do love the stepping out of your comfort zone when it comes to the way they book this tournament. Even with Finley's angle, I think they really tried to do things a little bit different, and that kind of set some people off. But at the same time, it kept me engaged. And I was somebody, as you say, I'm a demigod, and I'm always gonna say that I am a demigod when it comes to New Japan. But I stopped watching. Naito left. I really didn't care to watch. So for them to get me as invested as I was back in the product, I think overall they do deserve love for that too. But it wasn't the greatest G1 tournament I've ever seen. It was a good one, solid, but they lost Gabe. They had a lot of different little issues. The pacing was different, but I do think everybody did well for the most part in the tournament. It wasn't nobody I thought was thinking up the tournament, which in years past I can't lie. Sometimes some people was
Yeah.
thinking up the tournament. So
Chase
yeah,
Owens. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not naming
exactly,
that. I'm not naming
exactly,
that. I'm not naming
exactly.
names.
Right.
Um,
I'm not going to embarrass nobody, but exactly. So 8.5, I think is fair.
Yeah, perfect. We'll do MVP as well. That's a great idea. So you're on for that. Jaxie, so who's your MVP of the G1? What's your match, and what would you give it out of 10?
Um, Probably going to be boring, but I'm going to actually give my MVP to Takeshita. I think he produced like a consistently great performance throughout the G1. A lot of his matches stood out, even when he lost. He still like put in so much work. I just felt he was hardworking. And I'm gonna go for my overall match. I'm gonna go Zack Sabre Jr. versus Takeshita the first time they faced each other, because that match went hard and they both just would not give up, and the countering was just insane. So that really stood out for me for that. I think 8.5 is a really good shout. I do think it significantly lost points losing Gabe Kidd so early on in the G1 and just kind of making it slightly uneven in that aspect. But I also do agree with Monty. It felt like, because we had already lost like such big names, like even feeling like a loss like Goto, it was felt consistently, even from someone who's not as much a veteran as Monty is. I felt that there were certain people that were missing that could have just made it that extra little bit more special potentially. But also the consistency of House of Torture just ruining every other match was just exhausting.
And it's funny because I've heard you and Gina say this, where you're not like, know a lot about New Japan. You've just been watching the product for 3 years. This is your third G1. You've actually seen the talent live, and you've got 5 out of 6 in the semi-finals. But apart from that, Jax, you're not
Yep.
really sure, are you?
No, I mean, I'm getting there. I think I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Feeling like I'm a bit more of a New Japan pro, as I would,
No,
kind of feel when it comes to sort of reviewing AEW and WWE content.
I
But I'm
know what you're
getting a lot
saying.
more
Yeah.
comfortable in reviewing these shows because I feel like I am getting a chance to know so much more about these wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't
Been
it?
watching
We
in
might
10
not.
years. Don't compare yourself to me. You guys are doing great.
But again, we always
Thanks,
will,
Monty.
and you're our target, Monty. That's the thing. So Gina, what would you give MVP match and your rating?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult because I feel like Takeshita's my MVP, but I also want to give a special shout out to Driller Maloney because I think he did well throughout this whole tournament, and I enjoyed quite a lot of his matches that he was in. Um uh Match of the night, match of the thing, I really don't know. There were quite a few matches that were my favorite. The one that kind of pops to mind real quick is Takeshita and Zack Sabre Jr. I thought that was a really great match between them both. But I also think that what match was it? It was Driller Maloney and someone. He had a good match. Anyway, those were my ones. In terms of ratings, yeah, I'll give it an 8.5, especially because I felt like I could understand the layout of the tournament a lot better. And I think, even like I said, once you kind of learn more of the layout, the more enjoyable the tournament feels. Because I
Yeah.
I will admit, like the first G1, I was so lost. There was just all these same guys coming out for these same matches, and yeah, it was very confusing. So it was nice to watch it with more knowledge on it this
Yeah.
year.
Well, just imagine what you're going to do next year for the G1. You know what I mean? So and it's good though.
Right? I could be someone Monty could be scared of.
So for me, yeah, I think eight and a half is a
Terrified.
fair, 8.5 is a fair score for the G1. My MVP is going to be Finley because it's the first time I've actually cared about him, and I'm going to give it to. It sounds really boring, but I'll give it to Keston and Zach. But I'll give it the second match that they had would be my match of the G1. And to be fair, I've forgotten about the other ones that I marked up so well as well. So that is nearly it. All time to do Monty. I mean, you did cover it a little bit talking about the end of the G1, but what are your thoughts on New Japan? You have got your love back a little bit as we head to we've got Destruction coming up, and then I think a couple of the Super Junior Tag League and then the Tag League as we get to Wrestle Kingdom. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to earn me to be as back as deep as I was in it in the past. I mean, I've just it's not so much as that I've lost interest in the style or anything. I still love it. I just think that they're still transitioning. It's still a lot of ups and downs, and but I do think the G1 was a good step forward in a lot of ways. I don't have the same issues with the product that a lot of other people have. But I do think that I do agree with the overall criticism that Gato sometimes, sticks to his what has worked in the past, whether it's the talent, and that's kind of one reason why Takeshita winning was a shock to me, and like I appreciate it, but still don't know what that really means because they're not really the most they don't like this is just not really Gato's style when it comes to what he's done. So maybe that's the point. Maybe he's trying something different. So I am kind of excited. I'll keep an eye on it, but they're gonna have to earn me to be back where I was, and it's kind of like where Naito is at with the other Japanese promotions. Other promotions keep trying to get him to come, and he's like, I'm not wrestling anywhere in Japan that's not New Japan. So
No,
he
no.
keeps going to Europe, he keeps going to other places. But truthfully, he really wants to go home. But he fell out with him, and that's kind of like where I'm at with New Japan. Like, not to say I'm mirroring him, but like it is kind of funny how that worked. How he was my favorite wrestler and one of the people I was most invested in. So, but I am kind of in the same vein where I'm just like, I'm watching you, and I still got a lot of love for you, but you know, I'll take a break and just keep. I keep up with the cliff notes. I definitely come back for the big events, but other than that, I'm not. I'm keeping my distance still. But the G1 was a great step into getting me into love with this new generation of the roster going forward. But I'm terrified. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do without Tanahashi.
Well, on that note, that is it. Don't forget, we're across all social media, X at the Double R Podcast. I'm at the Double R Pod James. You can find the entire Double R team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on X, Instagram, and Twitch at Jaxie Scarlett.
And Monty?
You find me at my Months Pod.
And finally, Gina.
And I can be found at Purple Pain.
Awesome. Double and awesome. Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at podcast at gmail.com and YouTube Double R Podcast, where we are celebrating 10 years of the Double R with shorts, universe mode, and clips from any event we go to. All the podcasts, and the podcast is live on YouTube and also on SoundCloud on your phone. Also, Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode will be NXT Heatwave. My God, it feels like a while since we've been there, Monty, but it'll be fun. And apparently, there's a homecoming, so that should be nice, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm far off from the pro from NXT. I got to catch up, so we'll see where we at right now. So yeah, hopefully it'll be a fun show though once I do get caught up.
Well, until then, I've been James Reynolds and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. I say thank you for joining me, Jaxie, but well done today with New Japan. You see, you're getting there.
I mean, it's been a fun one to review, to be honest, and I really do look forward to next year's one and to kind of feel like, they've added more to the product. So on to the next one.
No doubt. And of course, the mind of Monty. Monty, I did tell you Takeshita would beat Zack Sabre Jr. I'm just saying.
Zach beat him first. Like I could just do that if I really cared as much as you seem to care about your one right prediction. But anyway, I do want you to now introduce me as not only a demigod but an honorary member of House of Torture because that is who I am a part of. So I'm going to be extra evil to you guys until maybe I feel like not being evil. So screw all of you.
Oh, sorry, we run out of time for you. And of course, the
Well,
genius of
I may join the War Dogs then.
yeah, you
Oh,
go again,
wow.
Jaxie. All right, guys, can I say goodbye to Gina? And the genius of Gina, what is it released to? Do you know what I mean? We're trying to wrap up the show, and all of a
I
sudden,
mean, I could say the same for you and Jax as well, so it's no different from me.
what have I done? I've not done anything wrong. Jaxie
I
started it.
love you, Gina, even though I'm evil.
Yeah, you are evil. You shouldn't say that.
Okay,
Anyway.
boys, calm down. Until next year's G1.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. What a weird way to end the episode, but we're going to do it this way anyway. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.